6:01. Good morning. I'm Jonathan Schaefer from the Superbook.com Sports Desk. Behind another strong defensive performance, number 4 Tennessee routed Georgia 70-41. Zakai Ziegler, 11 points and 7 assists for the Basket Vols.
Ziegler gets it left side, Vescovi. Vescovi back to Ziegler. Out front, going to launch a long three, and he hits it. Money. Ziegler, his third three-pointer of the game. He's got 11 points.
As it was heard on the zone, Santiago Vescovi, 8 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists, 6 steals to help the Vols improve to 17-3 overall and 7-1 in league play. Meanwhile, Belmont defeated Evansville 73-64. Ben Shepherd, 23 points for the Bruins, who are now 9-2 in conference play. To the association, Jordan Poole hit the game winner for Golden State as the Warriors defeated the Memphis Grizzlies 122-120. The Grizz have now dropped 4 in a row after they had won 11 straight. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
And here we go on the Thursday edition of Ramon, Kayla, and Will, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. Tennessee takes care of business on the hardwood, while Auburn's home winning streak comes to an end with Ron Slay watching on. We talk with Coach Dave McGinnis and prepare for our trip to Mobile for the Senior Bowl next week and get one day closer to Conference Championship Weekend in the NFL. Alongside 11-year NFL veteran, involved for life, Ramon Foster, our broadcast journalist whose J is always capitalized, Kayla Anderson, and the best producer in the world, Jonathan Schaefer.
The best producer in the world!
The world, Craig. The world.
I Will Bowling.
Hey, Will Bowling. How are you this morning? How are you, Kayla?
Yeah, I'm over here. Hey, guys. What's up?
Who's to say if Ron Slay will be allowed back in Neville Arena ever again?
Ever. I'll contest that. That was one voice I kept hearing loud over their announcement speakers.
Oh, my gosh.
Actually, I couldn't hear Ron's voice.
Yeah,
most of the time.
that's so funny you said that, Schaefer. I was going to text Ron today and say the one thing I have to say is I could barely hear you sometimes.
Yes.
Yeah. But there was a girl behind.
Screaming.
I had to turn it down at some point.
You heard her?
What do you mean, did I hear her? You heard her?
Who
didn't hear her?
On a scale of 1 to Vandy Whistler,
Like,
she
pipe
was like an
down.
8.
Yeah.
On a scale of 1 to Whistler, she was like a 7 or 8.
Yes.
Of obnoxious level on the crowd mic.
I was just like, how do you continue this?
Oh.
I was like, turn the mic the other way or something because this lady got to go.
So do they have like a boom mic over the broad?
There's boom mics.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. But they're so close to the floor
Yeah, they are.
at that arena.
Ooh. Listen.
Oh.
That voice right there was just a screeching.
Oh, God. Oh.
That's what it sounded like.
It is. It is. At one point, she was yelling, and then the ball was in the air, and her pitch went up. It was like a... As the ball was in the air, it's like, your screaming is not going to make the ball go in.
Oh, speaking of, here's Ron Slay, who just popped in on the chat. How is this man up?
But man, he's probably on the road
That's
or
amazing.
something.
My
Ain't no telling.
goodness.
Who said he went to sleep?
That's true.
That's true, too.
Very true.
Never not working. That's where he is right now.
All right, do we want a little dose from last night?
Yeah, please.
Please.
Once the computer decides.
Hard heads when they come up top for that pick and roll. Keep the ball on one side.
There's that trap. Green wanted the whistle. Didn't get it. It's stolen away. And a two-hand jam with a hard foul from Green.
As you see right here, A&M shoot the gap. You only have one outlet when you got big guys with hands all over the ball.
There you go.
Let's go. Slay crushed it. It was so fun to watch.
Favorite part was when he handed him the headband.
Yeah.
And he was like, I got one for you too.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
Hart was eating that up last night, man. That was awesome. It kept me engaged.
Did he call him Tommy?
Yeah.
I
You
love
call him
that.
Tommy.
I think
I
that's
love that.
Tom's Instagram name is Tommy Hart.
That's great.
Is
So I
it
think
Tommy
he
Hart?
goes by that a little
Tommy.
bit. Tommy. Tom is so good too.
They were great
They were
together.
a good team
They were.
together.
I
They
agree.
were a good team.
A lot of fun.
I see why Dane came in here and was just like, hey, watch yourself because you're stepping into my territory
That was so
now.
funny.
Dane
so
Bradshaw,
funny.
that is. He was just like, what? Hold up. You're not in studio? You're on the sideline? Dane was
yeah.
hilarious, man.
It's really cool right now as people that went to Tennessee to see so many broadcasters at SEC Network now crushing it
Yeah.
Yeah.
at Tennessee. And you had Dame Bradshaw and Courtney Lyle who were on the call together for Tennessee's game against LSU last weekend. Courtney was at Tennessee. He was a journalism alumna at Tennessee.
Yeah.
Actually from here in Brentwood.
Oh, okay.
And does a really, really good job. And Dane has grown so much into that role as one of the lead analysts for SEC Network and ESPN doing college basketball based out of Chattanooga and was here, I guess, for that Vandy, Kentucky game.
Oh,
And
yeah,
stopped
he
in
was.
for 3HL the other day in studio. But
He was.
cool to see that many Tennessee people
Well,
making waves at SEC
You
Network.
forgot, and the name is blanking.
Drea
my
Carter.
mind. She's actually my favorite.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm
Really?
just talking on the
doing
men's
si-
side. But
Well,
yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
but she does sideline, and she'll dabble in a little bit of everything, hoops wise. They've been using her more and more.
Yeah.
But she's phenomenal, and I know she wasn't even really going into broadcasting,
Right.
but she just is very informative. She clearly played the game, but she's got a smooth, like, kind of delivery
Yeah.
too.
She does
She's
that
really
show
good.
with Alyssa Lang out of pocket on SEC
Yeah.
Network.
Yeah.
And I think Alyssa does a really good job too.
Yeah.
But Drea was there when I was there. So she
Okay.
was like only 2 years older than me.
Yeah, I knew
And
she
I
was
don't-
younger.
I don't know if she even was a journalism
I don't think
major.
she was.
I
That's
think
what
she
I was
may have
saying.
been comm studies or marketing or something else.
Yeah.
But she's tremendous.
She's great.
And she will be there tonight
Straight
for
up.
College
Oh.
Game Day in Thompson-Boling
There
Arena.
you go. Cool.
Where
You know
Tennessee
what?
tonight becomes the first school ever to have football, women's basketball, and men's basketball college game day in the same year.
Dang.
Jeez. Is
Okay.
this
All right. Since you said that, you ready?
are we doing
I think
this?
so.
No, I mean, you ready?
It's 6:08:35
Shafe, I'm
right
always
now.
ready.
Is it? Are you ready?
I love it. Sip your coffee and go Vols. Sip your coffee and go Vols. Woo! Dog.
We got to carry this energy into tonight's game because Tennessee-UConn is a marquee matchup that will always be a marquee matchup, even if the Lady Vols are unranked right now.
Yeah.
That's must-watch television tonight.
Man, if you're up and you're a Vols fan, like, look, I just got to say this real quick. Just real quick. Enjoy it. Embrace it. Game day for all three major sports, that doesn't happen. I'm sure baseball is going to have something special going on somewhere too, right?
Well, they
I'd
don't
say
really
so.
do
Yeah.
game day, but yeah, if they had a game day, I
Like a-
guarantee you they'd have some
Or
sort
a
of
big
thing.
It'd be for,
broadcast
it'd be for
somewhere, at
Tennessee
least.
LSU,
Yeah.
and that's a 1 versus 2 matchup.
They
this
should do a
morning.
game
Feel
day.
me?
Bring it to baseball. Come on. Quit
Why
leaving the sport
not?
out.
On the college side, absolutely.
Especially in the SEC at least, because
Talk
you
your
know the
stuff.
crowds are big.
I know, like, legitimately, it's a party at those baseball games. Like, I think they've already sold out their tickets too for the year, right?
Oh, you cannot get
Yeah.
tickets to
you
those.
can't
That's
get
a
a
hot
ticket
take.
for
Like
it.
it's you could talk to whoever and shake whoever's hand. You might get like 2 tickets to one game on against like
Jeez.
somebody bad.
Can I ask one thing? And I put this out here in all love, and I'm not trying to be critical. But the one thing that I will say last night, when I retweeted something yesterday about the loudest arenas in college basketball right now, and me being like hearing the games in the past, I'm like, that's a loud arena. Thompson-Boling Arena is loud.
Yeah.
And so I just put it out there. Hey, Vols fans, what do you think? And I got back honest answers with Vols fans saying, yeah, it just really hasn't been an environment this year.
TBA.
What the hell's going on, folks? You've got a great basketball team. I saw Auburn's environment last night, which was freaking, I couldn't even hear myself think it
Yeah,
sometimes.
Auburn was loud.
What's going on there? I
They have
challenge these fans to step it up.
They've had a really weak home schedule. Like that's the response I've heard from a lot of people. The best team they'd played at home was Kentucky, and they're ranked at 11 seed right now by Joe Lunardi. So Saturday, I think, will be a step up against
Okay.
Texas.
Yeah.
And
Will, you better
students-
start the rally there.
I know. Perfect.
Okay.
So Saturday will be the first game back with student. Actually, yesterday was the first game back with student. They don't go back to school now
You said
until
that.
this past
What
Monday.
is this?
What in
This
the world?
is we're in February almost.
I know.
What's the 26th?
It was like I could have had so
What
much
is
time
going
at home.
on?
The 26th.
Usually it was the second week.
I
would go
know.
back.
We started
Dang.
back by like the 13th,
Because
the 11th,
Yeah.
you know?
The Titans-Chiefs game in Kansas City where Marcus Mariota threw a touchdown pass to himself was the day I went back to school my junior year.
So that was like a second week.
early January.
Because Tennessee played Kentucky that night. So we watched I literally took my parents and we watched the game in my place in Knoxville and then we
Yeah.
walked to Thompson Bowling from there to go to the Kentucky game and I just stayed.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So that's part of it. I think
Okay.
the other element of it is
makes sense.
students are getting used to the newest feature in Thompson Bowling Arena, and I don't like it officially. I've decided.
Okay.
They split the student section into two
See?
parts.
Nope.
One student section's behind one basket, and then the other half of the student section is behind the other basket.
I understand
don't think that
why
worked.
they would
Yeah,
do it, but yeah,
but-
I'm with you.
And the issue with Thompson Bowling Arena is it's not built like Neville Arena in Auburn or Cameron Indoor, where most college basketball arenas are 8 to 14,000 seats.
Yes.
And you are right on top of the floor because it's only built for basketball.
Yeah.
Correct.
Thompson Bowling Arena was built as much of an event space as it was for basketball. So
Yeah.
it's like a pro arena where you have two rows that have to go up off the floor
Yep.
and then you
Yeah.
have the actual seats. And then you have all that area behind the basket that's just bleachers, or not
Also-
bleachers, but just kind of like temporary seating.
Is it dark in there too? Because I was looking at
black
Auburn
seats.
and it looked so bright, and then I was like, it
Yeah.
looks darker.
It's lit the way Staples Center is
Okay.
and the way most pro gyms are.
Yeah.
And really the way Neyland is now, where they have those LED lights that are on the floor and it's more stage lighting
Gotcha.
behind that.
Okay.
So, yes, it is darker, but that's by
Design.
it looks way better than it used to.
Hey, man, tickets for this Texas game this weekend?
Serious. The crowd Saturday.
You
the
better
crowd-
bring it.
Because there's been a
Yeah.
lot of talk about this, and
Yeah.
I think that's actually why I've brought up that question to Ben McKee and to Slay. Like, why is there not a little more excitement around this team? The more I've asked that question to people around the program, that's the answer I keep
Okay.
getting. Is if you look at their home schedule, they haven't played anybody good.
Yeah.
But I say jump on the bandwagon early.
Yeah, get there.
I'm all
with
about
you,
like
Kayla.
supporting the
I'm with
team
you.
from the start.
Man, in the 200 levels, which is the club levels.
Yep.
500 a pop.
What
good.
the?
Pretty good. 615-737-1045, our number. And coming up today on the show, Coach Dave McGinnis at 7:20. Eytan Shander, our friend from up in Philadelphia, will join us at 8:20. We'll get a conference championship preview with him and talks of A.J. Brown talking about diva stuff, maybe.
Oh no.
That's
You don't say.
We've got I for one am shocked. And coming up next, we reset the headlines. We dive into the recaps from 3 big SEC basketball matchups last night, and hear from Patrick Mahomes and in his own words, availability on his ankle.
Oh, he's all better. He's all better.
Saw that.
You know what?
The ankle
Yeah,
sprain
right.
fairy has visited Kansas City. Coming up next, we continue. Ramon, Kayla, and Will, 104.5 The Zone.
It's Ramon Foster for Craftsman on the Hill. It's getting closer to the weekend. I'm telling you guys, you're probably looking for somewhere that you can watch the games at. It's Craftsman on the Hill. It's located 3424 Lebanon Pike in Hermitage, Tennessee. It has one of the best bar menus around, featuring their delicious smoked wings. I'm telling you, they have burgers, chicken sandwiches, chicken tenders, and several homemade sauces if you're a sauce guy like that, okay? It's still cool outside, so go get some of their smoked brisket chili. It's served every single day. Every single day of the week, they have something for you to do, too. I mean, Monday through Sunday. Monday night is trivia night. Tuesday, karaoke. Wednesday is dart night. There's all kind of poker tournaments. I'm telling you, it's the perfect place for you to watch college sports or your professional teams. There's plenty of TVs around to flip it to any channel you choose to. Best part about it, it's locally owned and operated. They have your favorite beer, spirit, plenty of nightly drinking food specials. Again, Monday through Sunday, Craftsman on the Hill, 3424 Lebanon Pike in Hermitage.
Thursday edition of Ramon, Kayla, and Will is powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. Ramon Foster, Kayla Anderson, and Will Bowling with you. Tennessee perfectly balanced last night in Thompson-Boling Arena. A dominant win, 70-41 over Georgia. 11 points, 7 assists for Zakai Ziegler as Tennessee held its 10th opponent to 50 or fewer points. And it took a layup at the buzzer in garbage time for Georgia to even get to 40 points. I think this team's figured out some stuff after that loss to Kentucky.
They had to, Will. You can't lose. I ain't going to say you can't lose to them. You can't lose to Kentucky like that, especially when you're supposed to be the big dog yourself. That's one thing about Kentucky basketball. When they were huge, they played that way. You knew that. They came in to dominate, and no matter what your best shot at them was, they were going to be Kentucky. So Tennessee's in the driver's seat right now of having a really talented team, a really good coach, and honestly, they're playing good ball. They can't have those stuffy games like that. Like that was a preview of how the tournament can be for the Vols. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I think that's why, Kayla, to your point, that question, the hesitation. Like, yo, give us what we think you are. Be the real thing. You know what I'm saying? What was that old Pepsi commercial? You got the right thing, baby. Like, hey, you remember the old Ray Charles?
Oh, I remember that.
Like, be the right thing.
Yeah.
Week in and week out against these big-time opponents. Will's point is, as far as the home schedule not being great as to why the environment is what it is, like, make it exciting. Like, all the way through. Like, that Georgia game last night was exciting to watch. Georgia jumped out early, but in general, they played and made plays from the guys they needed them from. And like Will said, the balance, though, was beautiful.
Yeah, and I think Zakai Ziegler was the first player to get to double digits from both teams last night. But when you look at Tennessee, that's what kind of excites you about this team is there's not just one guy every night that's taking control of the game. It's kind of a who's going to step up this night, who's going to have a hot night tonight. And I think in some ways you look at that as being a positive.
Yeah.
Because sometimes when you got that one guy that's Mr. Do-It-All, it doesn't last the whole season.
I'm with you.
And so I liked kind of seeing that last night, and I really just liked the fact that they took care of business. Look, is Georgia a great team? No. Are they a good team? They're very improved from last year, and they did what they needed to do against this team at home, and you couldn't have complained about that because they took care of business.
I think that's the positive of this team when you compare them to the 2019 group, because those two are being compared as the two best teams of the Rick Barnes era.
Yeah.
When Grant Williams would get in foul trouble, it was just like, oh, Lord, here we go. Like, that team had other players, and Lamonte Turner beat Kentucky twice single-handedly, and that's why he was in my graduation, by the way, when we had the same graduation at Tennessee, and, I stood up and, gave him a standing ovation.
Quick flex.
He got a louder cheer than I did.
Was this Grant?
Of course he did. No, Lamonte.
Oh, Lamonte.
Yeah,
okay,
Grant was a year after me.
But you're older. You're older than Grant.
I know.
Well, I was a grade older, but I don't know if I'm older.
What? By the way, a grade older. I like that.
Well, because I was
I
was a grade older than him, but I was young for my class because I should have probably been a year younger.
Gotcha.
I was always younger than everybody in my.
By the way, I'm happy for Grant, man. Grant's carved out a real role for himself,
and that's all him.
It's all him. For a guy that doesn't look like he's supposed to be playing at that high level with that type of impact for a historically just great organization like the Boston Celtics. What a role, man! He only 6'6".
I know.
You know what I'm saying? And he's playing like he's 7'1" or 6'9" and stuff. And what a year to be hot.
And he also stood up right away, maybe after year one, and started to establish a leadership role there too as a young player.
NBA PA.
It's kind of crazy.
It is. And
not surprising.
No, not surprising at all. But it's weird because you look at his high school recruiting, not overly great. Then he comes to Tennessee. He's a senior, actually stayed player of the year and everything, and actually get drafted. And you look at Grant and you be like, you play basketball? You do? And then you watch his hustle and how Ron is always he's like this when it comes down to basketball players, being specifically good at something. If they draft you for a spot up to be a spot up shooter, be that. And that's one thing he said about another guy that was from UT as far as like, he's doing too much, man. He need to like work on this corner shot and all this type of stuff. And Grant actually took heed to what he needed to do. He knew he had to be a hustler, knew he had to be a defensive player, and his three-point shooting has
That's
gotten.
what I was going to say.
Where did that come from?
Remember last season when he was just on a tear?
Yeah.
And I'm like, wait a second.
They're passing Grant the ball. I'm watching the other night play against Miami. He hit back-to-back corner threes.
Yeah.
And he was a big at Tennessee. So that shows you his evolution as a player. I know I went off on that tangent.
No, but that's a great
I'm
point.
super excited for him because now it's payday for him too.
Yeah.
And the announcers Monday night, if I'm not mistaken, Monday or Tuesday night, they announced it. It was like, what a year for him to be, last year on his contract. And I was like,
Wow.
You doggone right. Go Vols.
That's work ethic right there.
It is work ethic.
The thing I liked the most about the win for Tennessee last night, Georgia shot 29%. Tennessee only shot 29% from three. And they won the game by 29 points.
It was ugly early.
So Georgia scored 17 points in the first 9 minutes and 10 seconds of play. And then they only scored 13 points in the next 22 minutes and 55 seconds.
Out of this world.
And most of them
defense.
were at the free throw line.
They were.
Yeah.
So pretty good win for Tennessee last night. Auburn's home winning streak comes to an end. It's a bad time to have a home winning streak in college basketball because Tennessee's fell, Gonzaga's fell,
Kentucky.
which was 75 games.
Yeah, I heard about that one, believe me.
And now Tennessee's gone now. So Mick Cronin and UCLA have the longest home winning streak in college basketball.
Which I don't
Maybe the
think that's
Cougs can change that.
That long.
It's only 19 games.
Right. 19 games, yeah.
Man.
So Washington State, let's take care of
Let's
that. Well,
go.
then again, Memphis is like second or third, and I don't
Are
want them.
they?
I don't like them
nah,
being on.
boo.
I don't
I'm
like
just
them
joking.
being on graphics that are positive. Of like, oh, Memphis
Let's
has the
go,
third
Cougs.
longest. Oh, they're playing the.
Yeah.
I'm
I
not
told
gonna
you
say
Dennis
what I was gonna
Rodman's kid plays for Washington State.
Yeah, is he?
It's a
wow.
nice little gem that nobody really knows about unless you're up there.
Yeah.
Kinda
Can they go
fun.
play at Memphis too and in theirs? Because they already beat Arizona. So
Yeah, that's true. Your folks back home aren't okay with this Gonzaga
Are they
losing
okay?
streak?
No, I get text threads from my brother and my dad. Anytime Gonzaga does anything.
That's crazy.
Or did you
They're on
come
different
here?
Time zones, like-
Did you go to the game in Nashville when they played Tennessee in Nashville?
No, because I was working whatever.
Oh, it was the Titans game was that
yeah,
day.
I was working that game.
That was when Ryan Suckup kicked a
Yep.
brick 55 yards in Arrowhead Stadium to beat the Chiefs at the buzzer. And then the next week, the Titans lost in Jacksonville to lose their playoff spot. Good times.
Hello.
615-737-1041.
Good morning.
What more would you like to tell us this morning?
No,
It's
I just
a
remember that.
brick house.
I remember that because
hurt.
I remember
Yeah,
that because I was sitting, I was covering the game for RTI, and I was sitting on the floor.
What's
at
RTI? You not telling me?
Rocky Top Insider.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
All right.
yeah, look at
Look,
him
all
laying
these
down the
looks.
RTI.
I
What are you talking about?
know, like it was me and a bunch of other listeners this morning. Like, what is RTI?
Yeah.
Now we know.
I was covering the game. Okay, whatever. And my parents were sitting like pretty low in the lower bowl. Like my whole family
Yeah.
was actually there, and then I was just
Relax.
covering the game. And I like turned around, and you just heard this noise from the concourse, and people are just like celebrating and high fiving, and they're Tennessee fans like hugging each other, and like
Yeah.
it's like what. We just we're down like 8-2. Like Gonzaga went on like an 8-2 run to start the game. I was like, why are we happy?
Right.
And I looked back, and my like dad was like, the Titans just won. And then I saw it
that's
on
so funny.
my stream like 10 seconds later because I was delayed. Yeah, it was
That's tough.
good day.
Where was your family sitting at again?
Just somewhere in the lower bowl.
Oh, whoa. I see what you're doing there.
Film is just Thursday flexing. That's all we're doing today, Kayla.
I see you over there
We're
getting in.
doing-
Tennessee wasn't good then. That was not a ranked Tennessee team, and that was in Nashville against a team from the other side of the country. I don't know.
No, I'm just letting my bowling friend over here flex a little bit on a Thursday, man. Look,
We don't let me do that on this show.
we're not enough, Will.
Oh, boy.
Not enough, man. That's why I had to pause for a second.
Yeah.
Kayla.
Sure,
Just
turn my
Just
mic
dramatic
off.
pause.
every once in a while, Will just got to put the black Amex card down and say, you know
Yeah.
what? Yeah,
It's
lower
on me.
bowl, on me. You feel me?
Anyway,
On me.
It's on me.
On me on 3, baby.
Sometimes Will just wants bottle service.
we'll get to that coming up in a minute.
Oh, boy. I
We'll
can't
get-
wait for this
We'll
one.
get to the degenerate that hosts after us coming up in a minute.
Can't wait.
Don't you
dog.
dare call Lucas Panzica degenerate.
I would never do such a thing. Lucas upheld the standards of I don't know. We'll get there. Big J
That's
journalism.
a tease right there.
So the Kansas City Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes says that he is ready to go for Sunday's game against the Cincinnati Bengals. He wasn't ready last year when he was totally healthy. Listed as a full participant yesterday at practice, Patrick Mahomes led the league in passes from outside the pocket in the regular season. In the second half with a bum ankle against Jacksonville, he made no such throws from outside the pocket in the second half. It was his second half this season in which Patrick Mahomes made no throws from outside the pocket. He anticipated he would have to work around the injury against Cincinnati. If you had to guess, what percentage do you think Patrick Mahomes is at for this game, and does it matter enough for the Bengals to win?
I give Patrick about 65%, and 65 is possibly just walking. You feel me? Y'all have had high ankles or tendons be stretched and rolled ankles. Like, walking, you're fine. It's when you really get warm and then you cool off, and then that tendon is just super sensitive. So I give him that. If he's anything above 65% while just being normal and nobody's chasing him, boy, God bless him. You know, that's just where I'm at with him. He might be Superman.
I listened to a national show recently in the last 24 hours, and they're all just like hyping up the fact that he practiced yesterday and he wasn't wearing a walking boot and he's ready to go. And, now, the Kansas City Chiefs should be the favorite, and just going on and on. Like a high ankle injury doesn't matter, and that you're magically fixed within 5 days because of treatment. What are we doing here? Like, Titans fans should know, we know as media members this year, covering the Ryan Tannehill injury firsthand, that no matter what he did, it wasn't right throughout the year.
Yes.
And yes, his got rolled up again, but that was because he put himself back in the game. And look what Patrick Mahomes is doing. Of course he's playing. He's a tough kid. Absolutely. Do I think he's going to go out there and try his hardest? Absolutely. Is he going to be 100%? Not even close. I give him 60 to 65 as well. And I think that it takes one thing to happen for that to be a disaster. And I'm not saying I don't want that to happen.
No. You're right.
But this whole notion that he's good to go, let's not be stupid here.
Yeah.
Come on.
Where you at on this one, Will?
I was going to say 60% also. The question I have is, are the weapons around him and the offensive line around him good enough to prop him up under a stable, static platform?
That part.
Yeah. And Kelsey showed that he was the other day.
Yeah.
And his line did a pretty good job.
The thing is, like I said, with Patrick is the fact that first stat you gave us, like his ability to run out of the pocket to make plays, nobody does it better in the league. They just don't.
That's what makes him really special.
That's been my knock this offseason. Well, going into this offseason on Josh Allen. Josh Allen can do it, but he doesn't know where the script is after the fact. You know what I'm saying? Like, Patrick does that. That's the reason so many people are looking at the Zach Wilson throws and the Malik Willis throws that, oh, my God, he can – no. Don't chase what he's doing. Like, Patrick's good at that, and that's what I worry about him at. And for this type of team that he's playing against, Cincinnati, like, let's be honest about it. Cincy has a rep, man, and it could be a good one if they're your team.
Yeah.
Their reputation is try it if you want to. You know, it's pretty like that's the way it was with us with them. Like, try it if you want to.
Sure.
Go out here and let me know you got a banged up ankle.
Well, and isn't that part of gamesmanship?
It is.
You're going to go up there. Patty Mahomes is going to talk yesterday and say, hey, yeah, everything's going good. It's fine. Look, they watched 10 minutes of practice, which was essentially a walkthrough, folks. It wasn't like they were showing anything with Mahomes practicing.
Or cutting.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's the drag down tackles that's going to get them.
Yeah.
Think of it this way. If Mike Vrabel was his coach, would he have practiced yesterday?
No.
No shot, right?
No. And now it's not the regular season, right? So I don't know 100%, but
he would have been limited.
Yeah.
At best. Probably just non-participant on Wednesday.
Also, there's the how you react to practice, folks, that happens today.
Yes.
You got to think about that, too.
Yeah, I imagine they wanted to push him a little bit and see how bad the ankle felt today.
Are y'all going to feel bad, or will you look at it sideways if Cousin Dane put in a Mike Hilton or a DB goes in to tackle him
Not
and
really.
Gator roll? You know what I'm saying?
It depends. It's impossible to know if a hit is dirty without seeing the hit.
I don't want to see anything dirty,
Yeah.
but they're coming for him even more now.
I'm testing them ASAP.
I bet they'll blitz him immediately in that game.
If they don't,
that's
that's a stupid game plan.
Yeah.
Or the back-to-back, like, pushing and shoving that you make them get up off the ground every single time, you know?
Yeah.
Like, he got the right bunch to test it.
People are trying to make the hit that he took. Sorry.
No, you're fine.
Against in that last game, dirty.
Yes.
Even like the zone tweeted it out of like dirty hit or no. Like no, it wasn't dirty.
I'll say this about those types of hits and those types of quarterbacks. You run, you fair game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There's zero protection at that point. If you run and I got you already going into it and the ref respects that you're a runner, they drag you down. That's a part of it. Like, there's no protection for Patrick or anybody in that case.
Yep.
Tannehill too, right? We've seen it here.
Yep.
Like, I dare you run.
Yeah.
They're begging for it.
Right. 615-737-1045 our number. Coming up, it's one of our favorite activities. It's time to slander the name of one Andrew Rising. Properly
That's
giving
fun.
him the flack that he deserves for a comment that he made yesterday on the Buck Rising show. Next on 1045 The Zone.
Jeez.
At Genesis Diamonds, it's not just a new year. It's a new opportunity to bring you more choices, more value, more ways to celebrate your love. For this year, Genesis has expanded their selection of exquisite hand-picked diamonds from a half a carat to 15 carats, all shapes, all sizes, all at their famous no middleman prices, which is awesome, okay? This year's especially, the folks at Genesis know price matter, and they're committed to delivering the best value every day. They have also brought in even more exclusive designer jewelry, new cutting-edge fashion-forward rings, earrings, bands, bracelets, pendants, things you can't find anywhere else. And of course, Genesis is proud to offer the truly spectacular collection of luxury pre-owned Rolex timepieces. They have all the most popular models in stocks with no wait list and no restrictions. Get to Genesis in 2023 and let their non-commissioned experts help you celebrate these important milestones, which is Valentine's Day, fellas. I know how you feel about it, but guess what? Go on and knock that out and go see Genesis, okay? Because Genesis always guarantees the best value, the highest quality, and the strongest warranties in the jewelry industry. Genesis Diamonds and luxury pre-owned Rolex timepieces.
It's Ramon, Kayla, and Will, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors on 104.5 The Zone. Ramon Foster, Kayla Anderson, Will Bowling. And folks, you can't hide money.
No.
You can't hide it. Buck Rising doesn't even try to hide it. Here is from yesterday's show, Lucas Panzica correctly putting Buck in his place for one of the most absurd things I've ever heard Buck Rising say.
Florida. Okay, so did you ever go out to a bar with your buddies in college and do like bottle service?
In college?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, really?
What college bars are you going to?
Oh, well, we did.
No, we're buying 2 beers for $2.50 at Cool Beans in Knoxville. What are you talking about?
Welcome
Bottle
week, our senior year. I think we got bottle service 4 days in a row.
I'm sorry.
But so this is maybe not an analogy that I should use at this point.
I think that is one of the least relatable things you have ever said into a microphone.
I thought it was going to be super relatable.
You guys had bottle service in college, right?
I was just gonna.
We had $5 to our name, so we went to the place that gave us $3 pitchers or whatever it was.
Pick better friends. That's all I can tell you. I was just going to say, Florida's the buddy at the table that wants to order the next round of bottles, and then their parents' debit card gets declined because they've overextended themselves. But apparently that's not a relatable analogy. I was thinking in my head, I was like, I got something.
What is he thinking?
His parents' debit card, first of all, is where I want to start here. Please. The only bottle service that most people knew in college were bottles of domestics for $6 in a bucket.
Yep.
And there were typically 5 of them. Or bottles that were poured into a pitcher. Again, shout out Cool Beans. No free shout outs in Knoxville, Tennessee. It's been there since Jesus was a boy. Of pitchers of Natural Light, Busch Light, Bud Light, Mick Ultra, Coors, the correct answer. All of these things. Buck, what are you doing, buddy?
Wait,
Listen,
I don't even
ahead,
get it.
Kayla.
I like me being a woman, if anyone's going to know about bottle service, it's probably somebody like me who, if you go somewhere, back in the day in college when you're young, you're getting people that are like, here, you want bottles?
Yeah.
We'll do bottle service. Never, ever, ever in college was I ever even around a situation where bottle service was an option.
Only bottle service afforded in college was the half gallon that everybody went in with at the pregame party.
Or
I bought the cheapest vodka, the gallon. That was my bottle service.
Or Wine Wednesday. Every college town has a Wine Wednesday somewhere where they'll do half-price bottles of wine on Wednesdays, and it was Sunspot in Knoxville.
Why do they call it Thirsty Thursdays? Okay, because the drink don't matter. It's a matter of putting everything into a bucket and you drink out of that. Like, that's why it's Thirsty Thursdays. It's not bottle service Thursdays out here.
And let's make another fact to this whole thing. Let's add another fact to this. He went to school in Indiana.
What's in
This wasn't
Bloomington?
USC where you could just pop out to Hollywood.
I think they would go to Indianapolis, is what he's told me before.
Even still,
They
Will.
would drive to Indy.
Dude, they forcibly put the combine there so they have something throughout the year to celebrate, Will. What are we talking about? We're talking about Indy, dog.
Yeah, it's not like that's some hopping town.
I know. I got 2 brothers there. What are we talking about, dude? And I've had former college teammates as first rounders. The first time I ever experienced bottle service was with Gerard Mayo after he declared, and we went to Atlanta. Okay,
there you go.
That was a one-timer. Hey,
well, you were an athlete too.
And that's what I'm saying. We went to the bar.
Come on, man.
We took out emergency loan to get drinks at the bar. You hear me?
The responses at 104.5 The Zone TV are great. Watch it on YouTube. Eric says Silver Spoon Buck.
Dog. I'm done with Buck after the
Danny in the Borough says $1 High Lifes at Dirty Gyms in the Borough.
Sounds about right.
Cousin Hightower writes in, as a Hoosier, I don't claim Buck at all. He's a breed of his own. We have Penny Beer Thursdays at Stampedes in the Borough are shouted out.
Dog.
The personal favorite for me was at Half Barrel. They would do half-price pint night.
Half Barrel.
And you would get a pound of wings of the bourbon barbecue wings for $6. So you get a pound of wings for $6 and half-price pints. And that was also the case at Fieldhouse Social on Sports Trivia Tuesdays.
Yeah.
You would get half-price pints, and you could play sports trivia Tuesday nights at Fieldhouse.
You know what? I ain't even mad at it, okay? All right, maybe he came through a different era than I did. Bottle service to us.
He said 4 days in a row.
4 in a row. You know what? Our bottle service
what
would
are
have
you
been?
doing there?
That would have been MD 2020. You hear me? That Mad Dog 2020. That's where we was at.
Mine was Boone's, baby.
You feel me? Boone's and Mad Dog out here.
Let's go to the phone lines real quick. Let's go to John in the Borough before we get out of here to finish off hour 1. Good morning, John.
Morning, John.
So I'm always down to make fun of Buck.
I wish you would.
growing up or in college, we went to clean gyms. Danny would go to dirty gyms, and we went to clean gyms where you got $5.75. You got a 32-ounce drink where they would take the bottle that you got, and they would literally just fill the cup with whatever liquor you got, and then take the mixer and put a little splash on top. So you only needed like 2 or 3 of them. But I did have a fraternity brother who his dad was the special teams coordinator for the 85-86 Bears. He coached with Coach Mack. He is a scout for the Rams now. He's a good friend of Coach Mack's and all that stuff. That he was very, very free with his money and did take us to Nashville one time for bottle service, which was great. But Buck needs to come back to reality and understand that is not normal.
Man.
Not even a little bit. Thank you, John.
I just love Lucas's reaction.
Oh, it's so good.
Dog.
So what this takes me back to is there's a place in Knoxville called Downtown Grill.
Okay.
It's on Gay Street in downtown Knoxville.
Mm-hmm.
25-cent mimosas on weekends.
Yeah, that's phenomenal.
25 cents.
I ain't even mad at Buck, okay? I just need y'all to understand that first and foremost. If you balling and you got it, cool. But heck, even when Ron was coming back from playing overseas, right? We be partying with him, and guess where we picking up drinks at? At the bar, okay?
Sure.
The tab may be open, but we at the bar. The fanciest drink we was having was Grey Goose with cranberry and pineapple. You hear me?
Oh, I love that.
Or Goose and Red Bull.
I'm 25 years old, and I have never in my life had been a part of bottle service in any way.
Bar service, Will.
That's right.
Open tab.
Okay, what's happy hour?
You know what
I miss it? I'll come back tomorrow.
How much cash I got? I got about $236 in here. Okay, we're good tonight.
230. Well, dang.
Buck
All
just
right.
flipping out that Amex,
I
that
mean,
black,
all right.
that black Amex.
Just got to drop it on the table to hit the titanium. You feel me? That's all you need every once in a while. That's where Buck at.
615-737-1045 our number if you also like clowning Buck Rising at any given opportunity. And coming up next, Coach Dave McGinnis joins us in hour 2 at 7:20. And we take a look at the quarterbacks who will be joining us in Mobile next week.
I tell you what, I'm keeping my kids away from Buck Rising. From here on out, their dad is broke as a joke.
6:55, Shave. Keeping my kids away from Buck Rising. Coming up next, more. Hour 2 begins. Road Caleb Will, 104.5 The Zone.
I think that is one of the least relatable things you have ever said.
7:02. Good morning. I'm Jonathan Schaefer from the Superbook.com Sports Desk. Behind another strong defensive performance, number 4 Tennessee routed Georgia 70-41. Sakai Ziegler 11 points and 7 assists for the Basket Vols.
Ziegler gets it left side. Vescovy back to Ziegler. Out front, going to launch a long three, and he hits it. Money. Ziegler, his third three-pointer of the game. He's got 11 points.
Santiago Vescovy, 8 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists, 6 steals to help the Vols improve to 17-3 overall, 7-1 in SEC play. Meanwhile, Belmont defeated Evansville 73-64. Ben Shepherd, 23 points for the Bruins, who are now 9-2 in conference play. Women's hoops tonight, a big one. Number 5 UConn at Tennessee, 7 o'clock tonight. FAU at number 23 MTSU. 6 o'clock will be the tip-off for that. Jordan Poole hit the game winner for Golden State as the Warriors defeated the Memphis Grizzlies 122-120. The Grizz have now dropped 4 in a row after they had won 11 straight. And to the ice, Devils at Predators this evening. 7 o'clock, the face-off. Nashville's won 2 in a row. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
And the show goes on into hour number 2 this morning. Good morning, Music City and beyond. And welcome to Ramon, Kayla, and Will, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. With our 11-year NFL veteran, Ramon Foster, our journalist, whose J is always capitalized, Kayla Anderson, and the best producer in the world, Jonathan Schaefer, making the show happen.
The best producer in the world!
I'm Will Bowling. Our phone number is 615-737-1045 if you would like to continue the slander of Buck Rising, where the praise is pouring in. On 104.5 The Zone TV and on Twitter at Ramon Kayla Will, where you can follow us. Thomas writing in this morning. Mm-hmm. Good morning, Thomas. Thank you for listening. And says, only bar service I've ever been around was in Humboldt, Tennessee, when some dude with a big mouth got served a bottle upside the head.
That's so great.
Excuse me?
God's country out there in Humboldt, Tennessee. Thank you for listening.
Home of the Strawberry Festival.
Stay humble.
There are a lot of good festivals in Tennessee.
Yeah, it is.
Hey,
man.
Strawberry Festival, Portland, Tennessee. Represent Sumner, y'all.
Okay.
Sumner,
I didn't
I heard.
realize Portland had
Hardly
one
know
too.
You gotta leave the house once
Don't
in a
leave
while.
Portland out.
Is there good
Yeah,
coffee
might
in
be.
Portland, Tennessee also? Is that just by
That would
association?
be Portland, Oregon.
Well, I know
Yeah.
that. But
Yeah,
just by
Seattle's got
association,
better
do you
coffee
get,
than Portland.
Okay. Okay.
Tend to
so he-
disagree.
Kayla is to Seattle like I am to
agree.
Memphis.
Yeah.
I'm
I
sorry?
hear it.
Are you to Seattle like I am to Memphis?
A little bit
Okay.
in weird ways, but it's where all my pro teams are.
Oh,
so I
okay.
can't be 100%
That's
that
fair.
way, but the people kind of.
That's how in North Carolina, people from Raleigh are like that to Charlotte.
Mm-hmm.
Where like there are a lot of Panthers fans, but like Raleigh and Charlotte, I don't think really like each other.
Well, it's weird because all the WSU grads are in Seattle too.
Oh,
so like
okay.
all my friends are over
Makes
there. So I
sense.
can't like dislike my friends. But
Sure.
other than that, if you're not friends or family over there, I don't like you.
Perfect.
But I like the pro
There it
teams.
is. There it is.
706. I don't like
That's why I was quiet, Shafe.
In Spokane, we humble.
That's why I appreciate you.
We're humble over
I'm
there.
learning his radio pro stuff. Sometimes just be quiet and let them make hot takes like that, and then you save them and use them later.
You're now saying this all though.
Yeah, no, I understand it.
It's
now.
not a professional
Yeah,
move if
it's
then
not.
you give yourself credit for it.
Yeah, no, I'm
You just got to let it happen.
figuring it out a little bit, But I'd love to know. I know we got Matt coming up too. Like, who else has had bottle service in college? Like 4 days in a row.
I'd love to know if Mac has.
I don't think I knew bottle service existed in college.
Because
It
you were in
was
the same
so
era,
far.
though.
No, it was so far off my radar.
You were in the same era though, of like Buck college years.
So basically, what happened was we talked about it in the last segment. Buck went on his show yesterday, on Lucas's show yesterday, and went on this rant of like, well, it's like when your buddy goes to get bottle service in college, and his cart, and Lucas goes like, Buck, no one else had bottle service in college, and Buck was like, did that not happen? Does the rest of you not have bottle service in college?
Rest of you.
I think that is one of the least relatable things you have ever said.
And that resulted in a great line from Lucas, who handled this perfectly.
Yeah, he did.
Oh, yeah.
It was terrific.
And it was like, the thing that got me was, there was one time we did it 4 straight days in a row. What?
Yeah, that's even worse.
That is a bender right there. What?
3 days in a row. Are you going to school?
Okay, so did you ever go out to a bar with your buddies in college and do like bottle service?
In college?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, really?
What college bars are you going to?
Really?
No, we're buying 2 beers for $2.50 at Cool Beans in Knoxville. What are you talking about?
Welcome
bottle
week.
service?
Welcome week. Our senior year, I think we got bottle service 4 days in a row.
Welcome week. I've seen.
What
So, at Ramon Kayla Will, let us know what was the best drink special that you enjoyed in college, and we'll just sprinkle in some of the best answers as the show continues today. Mine, again, was 25-cent mimosas, Downtown Grill in Knoxville, Saturdays and Sunday mornings.
What's crazy is
So good.
Is Buck's reaction to Lucas saying, what? Buck's like, oh
really?
Oh, really?
I can't believe you never did that in college.
He was seriously surprised that Lucas did not say, "Oh yeah, man, yeah, we had it all the time. Yeah, bottle service."
Lucas, what do you want me to say? I wanted the bottle service, that they were really good.
I love Buck, man. That is some,
Lucas, come on.
That is some privy stuff.
615-737-1045. Tell me I'm more relatable than Lucas is telling me that I'm really not. I really don't think that I am that far off from what the people want. I mean, you guys, you didn't do bottle service?
You didn't do bottle service.
You didn't get college?
What was he watching at the time? Like, was he like, make it rain in here too, like Fat Joe and Terror Squad?
Right.
Like, were they the Terror Squad around Indiana?
Back to the shadows.
I guess he was running around with dollar bills in his pocket. I don't know.
away.
Dog, my fanciest drink at the moment and those times was just simply getting a Grey Goose mixed with something, man.
Yeah.
Like, we weren't getting the cheap Smirnoff liquor or nothing. Like, no, don't give me Blue Top. You got Grey Goose? I see. Yeah, let me get some Grey
It
Goose.
was like, let me get some of that good tequila to mix in like a homemade margarita or something.
Patron?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God.
Let me get a little bit. Like, no, let me just actually, honestly, it was instead of getting like a nicer caliber of drink, you would just get a bigger bottle.
Yeah.
Like, you would get a bigger bottle of the cheapest thing. Like, you know what? I'm going to treat myself.
I'll never forget, man. We were just putting dollars together and like freshman year and stuff, sophomore year and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, we just wanted to get some MD 2020, y'all. Like, that's all we were trying to get, just a bottle. Like some E&J. You feel me? Like, there's no Hennessy wasn't on our radar. You know what I'm saying? Like, Grey Goose wasn't on the radar. Crown Royal. No, if it was brown and cheap or white and like real cheap, we were in that thing. You feel me?
Well, once they sign their rookie quarterback deals, these quarterbacks at the Senior Bowl will be able to get bottle service, as Charles asked me to go back to sports. The Senior Bowl will have some later round selections available, I think, coming up next week in Mobile. I love just the stupid seamless transitions. And there's no clear-cut favorite to be the starting quarterback outside of maybe TCU's Max Duggan, who we might be able to interview next week and ask how many times he gets asked about his resemblance to a character from Dodgeball.
Oh boy.
The pirate Steve from Dodgeball is Max Duggan. Anyway, TCU's Max Duggan, Fresno State's Jake Haener, BYU's Jaron Hall, Houston's Clayton Tune among the names at the quarterback position. No Will Levis.
Oh man, I wanted to come in with some mayonnaise.
Hendon Hooker will be there though.
Yeah.
Won't be playing, but will be there.
7-Eleven.
What is he doing back there?
He's just Schaefer is already through an hour of the show had a record amount of things.
He's got time codes down. Just
he does.
From the minute we started the show.
He does.
6:02.
Look at the clock behind your head.
7:11.
If you ever want him to not know where to find something, just move that camera and just pan it down or to the side.
Just go down to my
Dog.
It's right.
I'm stuck still, y'all.
We can start redecorating in the studio the way everyone else does.
Pretty much. Y'all,
the studio's in a different format every time we walk in here.
Oh, boy.
Oh, my goodness.
I'm still shook out here, man. I'm going to get past this in a minute, Will, and we're going to talk draft stuff.
Well, Louisville's Malik Cunningham was added to the Senior Bowl as well yesterday.
I'm actually intrigued by him.
Cool.
That quarterback.
There are NIL deals now, so bottle service is a huge part of it. I'm just off. Like, Buck's really throwing me off. I need to check out for a little while.
Well,
it blows my mind. That's my dog, though. I can't have my kids around him. No.
Excuse me?
He'll be breaking down tax returns with my kids. Hey, you see if it says very important tax document, bring that to me. I'll show you what your dad made last year. Wow. That will be him. Like, wow. I got to put my stuff in the. No, I'm just saying in general, like the fact that he would break down, like, hey, if you go look, there's probably an old check stub. He says he's broke, but let me tell you what he really has.
My favorite part of this was Buck thinking this was a really relatable thing to say and being like, this is going to make me really relatable. I need to lean into this.
But it was the least thing.
Just going the complete opposite.
It was like the one day on the show, he's like, what's the average person making in America? Like $70,000? And Lucas is sitting there going, what
Lucas
the hell are you talking about?
Whoa.
Like, what?
Yeah, I think I texted him.
I don't understand.
Like,
hey, listen, in all seriousness, we do like Buck. If we didn't like Buck, we wouldn't.
Notice he said like, but not love.
No, it's because if I said I would loved him, you'd be like, oh, that's cheesy.
Weird.
People would, yeah, exactly. I would get that response.
Yeah.
We do love Buck.
We do.
If we didn't really love Buck, we wouldn't say things like this. So
I know.
for the people
we
that
just
are like,
gave him a whole bunch of airtime.
We did.
For the people that maybe like him more than us and are like, well, yeah, that morning show just talks so bad about Buck. You know, I just
it ain't that.
You know what the official show response is to that?
We do not care.
We really
Straight
don't.
up, man.
And coming up next, Coach Dave McGinnis does not care either. And he'll join us talking about the Senior Bowl and what does a general manager's job look like at the Senior Bowl? And has Coach Mack taken a deep dive into any offensive tackle prospects? Or bottle service. Coming up next with Coach Dave McGinnis, 104.5
Let's do
The
bottle
Zone.
service.
You don't have to go through yet another year with that knee pain or back pain because people with chronic joint pain are getting real lasting relief from QC Kinetics. Hey, it's Ramon Foster, and QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in advanced regenerative medicine. Their unique protocols use healing agents from your own body to target aching joints, repairing and restoring damaged joint tissue so you can move again with no surgery, no drugs, no downtime. If you got shoulder pain, excruciating hip pain, or if you have any arthritis pain or lingering pain from an injury, don't let them operate on you or give you more steroids. And say no to the pain pills. Call QC Kinetics and see if their life-changing, all-natural treatments can get you living your best life in this new year. I'm telling you, people are raving about these treatments. This is the future of joint pain management, and appointments are available as soon as next week. So make 2023 the year you say goodbye to joint pain. QC Kinetics in Nashville, Clarksville, and Murfreesboro. And you can reach out to them at 615-249-4024. Again, the number is 615-249-4024.
It's one of our favorite times of the week when this music plays and Coach Dave McGinnis joins the show. Every Thursday right here on Ramon, Kayla, and Will, presented by Farm Bureau Health Plans. Look to the folks at Farm Bureau Health Plans when you need someone who knows the health coverage game plan. They've been protecting Tennesseans for 75 years. Good morning, Coach Mack. How are you?
Will, good morning. How you doing, man?
We're great. We've just spent a lot of the morning clowning Buck, so we're having a great time because he said yesterday that he had bottle service quite a bit in college. I know you're doing Coach Mack things in Indianapolis anytime you're there like Buck did, but apparently Buck was doing those things or trying to do Coach Mack things when he was still in college.
Well, first of all, I would imagine that if you guys are talking junk on Buck, that lasted a whole show. Probably you got a lot of... You got a lot of ammunition there, brother.
He's got 3 hours to himself to return the favor later today, so we will wait with bated breath. Coach Mack, we're looking forward to being down at the Senior Bowl next week. Our show will be down there, and looking forward to spending time around a lot of execs, a lot of Titans people, and a lot of good prospects next week in Mobile.
Well, yeah, Shakes just said you guys are going to be down there. That'll be really good. That'll be great. I mean, that's this time of year, you can tell everything's got a calendar point, and the Senior Bowl is kind of a calendar point to really, kick. Now, everybody's been doing this. They start on this draft class as soon as last year's draft class is over with. But this is kind of a touch point to kick off the draft season, for the league. For everybody getting together. So you guys are going to enjoy it. I always enjoy being down there, being able to, trade ideas with people and get a firsthand look at some of these players. And then clearly the interviews, Mike Keith and Rhett Bryan will conduct interviews with the players so that we can have a lot of content, for our 2 nights of the draft show that we do every year. So that's, it'll be good. I'm glad you guys are going down there.
Mm-hmm. So, Coach Mack, for a general manager, what is a normal day like at the Senior Bowl? How much actual evaluation are you doing on the practice field? How closely are you watching some of those meetings? And how many meetings would a general manager get to take on the average day down there in Mobile?
Well, it's from can to can't down there for a general manager and for coaches. I mean, you start out early. It's different now than it used to be. First of all, it's the Senior Bowl and the East-West are now are swapping years as far as either having a dedicated staff or having staffs that are put together, from other coaches. This is the year for the Senior Bowl to have the other coaches' staff put together. The dedicated staff are at the East-West game. But if you're not coaching it, then what you do is it's really important for practices, and then they have designated times to be able to have interviews set up for different teams. You have to put a list in of people you want to talk to. It's much like the combine. You have to put a list in, and then they have to. It's very organized, and then they have to be able to get that list. The Senior Bowl people, Nagy and those people get that put together with the players down there, so they have time frames as to when they were going to meet with people. It's not like the Wild West like it used to be when I first started in this league. The first combine I ever went to. See, they didn't used to not have interviews at the Senior Bowl, but the combine was just like you would be in the lobby of that at the train station and just grab people as they were coming in. I mean, it was the Wild West. It really was. Now, both of these venues are very well organized, and so when the players are not in meetings, they have organized times when you can talk to them. And so, I mean, basically, it's from early in the morning until I think it's 11 o'clock at night is the last scheduled meetings that you can have with them. So it's a pretty full work day.
Oh, Coach Mack, man, looking forward to being down there a week and everything, man. And I just have to ask you, as far as the guys that accept the Senior Bowl and the ones who choose not to, do you look at it as more beneficial for the guys in the trenches than almost anybody else because their measurements are more or less practice / game reps that they get as opposed to speed, lifting, jumping, the measurable stuff?
Yeah, you know what, Ramon? I think it's beneficial, if you don't have an injury or if you're not, for players to be there. Because here's what happens. The practices are really important, and here's where they're really important. They're really important, for the one-on-one stuff that you get to watch. You're one, and you know as well as I do. Like one-on-ones for the receivers, that's always tilted towards the receivers. One-on-one pass rush is always tilted, towards the defense because normally you're not just out there, as an offensive lineman one-on-one with 53 1/3 yards, separating you. But the one-on-one stuff is really good for everybody to watch. The game in and of itself is fine. But the evaluation really goes on during the week in those practices because then your scouts and your general managers and your people that are decision makers and your coaches, you can watch these guys in all the individual drills. You can watch them, interact. You can watch them be taught something and see how well, they're able to retain it. And all of the practices are so important, for everybody's evaluation. The game is the game. But the amount of time that you're able to be in the game, because as I've coached it 6 times as a head coach, as a coordinator, as an assistant coach. And so during the game, what you're trying to do is be sure everybody gets equal reps. But in the practices, that's where your main evaluation comes from. So it's very beneficial, for players. There are players that have elevated their stock in the draft process quite a bit by participating in this game.
When it comes down to teams' needs, I probably look at the Titans and I'd say maybe corner, middle linebacker, offensive line as far as positions. Do you find teams specifically, looking at those positions, or do you just say, no, let me see who's the best guy down here just in case they're best available at our pick?
They're both.
Okay.
Both. I mean, as a scouting staff, I'll just tell you how all the staffs that I was on or when I was in charge as a head coach did. First of all, your scouting staff, they divide up and they rotate and watch different positions, okay? Your position coaches watch their positions. But then what goes on, Ramon, is that then you have meetings every evening and you compare notes with what you've seen, what you've done. And then it's all filmed. So, and especially now when you've got you've got computers as to where that stuff is out immediately.
Yep.
Then you can go in and watch that and watch put it on the iPad, put it on the Surface, watch that night, and see and sit down. So really for staffs that are down there, I'm not talking about staffs that are coaching it. I'm talking about if you're just down there as a staff, you have meetings every night where you're comparing. You are comparing evaluations, you're comparing notes, you're comparing Monday, and then you compare it to Tuesday, then you go back on Wednesday and look back and see if you see some improvement from Monday. So it's work when you're down there.
So, Coach Mack, I've talked to a couple current NFL guys that had the privilege of going to both the Senior Bowl and the NFL Combine. And the first thing they said to me was, man, yeah, the Combine, like we did not like the Combine. The Senior Bowl, like that was such a cool experience. Why the difference with that? Is it just the environment and just the pressure is different in either one?
Well, they're different. They're different venues. I mean, the first of all, the Combine, you've got 330 guys there, okay? Mm-hmm. The Senior Bowl, you don't. The other thing about it is that in the Senior Bowl, you are watching them practice football. At the Combine, you're watching them, do other things that are football skills, but they're not practicing football per se. Both of them are very valuable. The other thing about the Combine is, the Combine is if you go to all of it, I've been to every one of these other Combines. It used to be a week. Now it's a 12-day thing. As far as because there's a lot of time in between what they do. Both of them are extremely valuable, but both of them are different. Both of them are extremely, extremely different. And I don't know who you talk to about it, but here's the other thing about that is there are 2 practices a day to go to at the Senior Bowl when you're watching it. The combine, once you get slotted in on that railroad track up there at the combine, you start at 7 in the morning and if you're going through all of which everybody does, you go through all the interviews and stuff, you're not through till 11 o'clock at night, and it's schedule on top of schedule on top of schedule. You've got a little bit more walk around time at the Senior Bowl, and plus, it's only a week.
Mm-hmm. Well, you were speaking about a lot of guys go here; they can see their draft stock rise. If you're Mike Vrabel and your new GM Rand Carthon, like where are you going in, and kind of what are you looking at in terms of position wise, where you can maybe find some gems?
Well, I mean, look, your scouting staff already has. You're prepped as a coach because you don't have time during the season to do this. You're prepped as a coach by your scouting staff before you ever go down there as to who's there. You've already watched tape. You don't go in there blind, and this is the first time you've seen those guys. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
In other words, you are already prepped. If you're my secondary coach, Kayla, I've already said we've already had meetings, and the scouting group has said, all right, here are the corners that are down here. Here are the guys that we think might be available when we're picking, but here's tape on these guys. Look at them, and then once you write your report from the Senior Bowl, here are the guys that we think that you'll want to look at. But you'll look at all of them because you have 2 practices, and it's very easy at each practice for you as a secondary coach to go and start and watch them from individual all the way through till the end of practice. It's not like you go down there as a coach, and clearly not as a scout, but you don't go down there as a coach and say, wow, this is the first time I've ever seen these guys do anything. You've already watched some prep tape before you go down there. So you're going to look at all of them.
Coach Mack with us this morning on Ramon, Kayla, and Will, presented by Farm Bureau Health Plans. Coach, we're going to ask Ramon this question later on in the show, but I wanted to get your thoughts on what separates the good and great prospects, specifically at the offensive tackle position. I know it's a broad question, and there are a lot of different ways you could take it, but when you look at day 1 versus day 2 or 3 tackle prospects, what separates the good from the great?
Movement. I mean, there are now. First of all, let me just say this: there's a limited number of humans on Earth that can play
right
in the National Football League, and then can play specific positions, and then can excel at specific positions. But when you're looking at big human beings, the physicality that it takes, first of all, to be able to play that. The movement part of it is what separates those guys. Yeah. Not only the movement, but then also you've got to combine that with the ability to have enough tenacity to do it down in and down out, down in and down out. And then, look, you are always looking to try to discern and find that guy. And this is sometimes what the 40-yard dash won't tell you, or what the short shuttle won't tell you, or what, is those guys that have the tenacity and the inner drive that it takes to be an offensive lineman in this league, because that is not an easy task, because that is down in, down out, man on man, really, really physical stuff. But the movement, when you're just looking at big humans out on the field, if you don't know anything about anybody, the first thing that attracts you, other than temperament, the first thing that attracts you is the movement. The movement separates them.
Coach Mack, man, I'll send you that cash later on, man. I was really in offensive line heaven right there as you really broke that down, and I didn't even ask for that, Coach Mack.
Well, Ramon, I've been doing this for a minute.
With that being said, Coach Mack, as we tease about that, though, is this. I saw your breakdown with you and Rand Carthon watching some of his old film and everything. Do you always find it, kind of funny the way guys really minimize their playing days a little bit and somewhat kind of shocked as he was?
Yes, and that, I mean, and let me just say this. Of course, and again, I mean, it's well documented that Rand and I know each other very well. We worked together very closely for 5 years, and I mean a grinding 5 years, because when we both went in at the same time, not knowing each other at the time, and went into that Rams situation there in St. Louis. They had been 15-65 the previous 5 years.
Ooh, wow.
Now, I'm not good at math, but that's 3 wins a year for 5 years in a row. So that was a problem, and there was a lot of work to do. And as he said, we were. That was my job as an assistant head coach at the time, to be the conduit between the scouting department and between the coaching department, for everybody to get to know everybody and see how we were going to work together. And so we spent a lot of time, watching tape, and we were up there late at night. And, basically started the foundation that got that thing set up. And it took 7 seasons to get that done. We were there for 5 of them, when you work that hard on something with somebody that close, that long, and you watch it grow. Neither one of us were there when they won the Super Bowl, but we knew what the base and the foundation was for that. And then again, and I said it, I think, in that thing, because I really enjoyed doing it. I said, we met each other, but we became friends over work. And that's one thing that I always treasure, is guys that you work closely with, that you understand really, really who they are. And that was a lot of fun. It really was a lot of fun, though. That was Mike Keith's idea. He asked me, when Rand was hired, he said, we've got an idea. Would you mind taking what you do for Microsoft and morphing it into this? And I said, absolutely. Hey, Rand and I had no idea what we were going to talk about. I had never seen those plays, and he hadn't either. We just said, seriously. We just sat down and turned the lights on and turned the cameras on, and we both said, let's go.
Man, I just saw how happy you were for him, too. I just got to throw that out. That was real cool, Coach Matt.
Love it.
Well, I mean, and again, anybody that accomplishes, and he was, he's so well-spoken and so smart, but just, for him to really kind of lay himself with his family kind of bare and saying, with he and his wife, Heaven, when he told her, when they started dating, I want to be a general manager. She, looked at him sideways, but you understand, his whole family was there. I mean, a lot of generations of his family, because, just think about it, a young kid from Key West, and all of a sudden he's a general manager of one of 32 in one of the biggest settings in professional sports. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Coach Tate McGinnis, presented by Farm Bureau Health Plans. Better rates, better coverage, and better service. That's why Tennesseans have been relying on Farm Bureau Health Plans for their health coverage for 75 years. Coach Mack, we appreciate the time as always. We will do it again from Mobile next week.
Guys, look forward to seeing you guys. Glad you guys are going down there. See you guys.
Yes, sir.
Hi, Coach.
Appreciate it.
Hey, by the way, Ron Slade crushed it last night.
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I don't know anything about announcing basketball, but I know good from bad. I texted him during the game. I said, hey, this is your wheelhouse. He did a great job.
From one broadcast guru to another, Coach Mack. We love it. Awesome.
See you guys.
There's Coach Tate McGinnis with us this morning on Ramon, Kayla, and Will. And when we come back, an interesting headline from Baton Rouge yesterday. Good day to be Brian Kelly. Yeah, one day I hope to be Brian Kelly in one way. Maybe me and my family could benefit from this. We'll tell you what it is coming up next. 104.5 The Zone.
It's Ramon Foster for Window Nation right now. You heard me say it, and I'm going to tell you again. It is home show season right now because it's right before the summer hits. You want your house looking all nice. I've talked to you about your grass. I've talked to you about everything else, and I'm here to tell you about your windows and what Window Nation is doing because they're bringing the home show savings right to you, where you get 0% interest financing for 60 months. That's 5 years, no interest, plus 2 free windows with every 2 you buy. All of this without leaving the comfort of your home, and this is how you do it. You go to windownation.com/home show and you try their free virtual visualizer. Well, what do I do with that virtual visualizer? Well, upload a picture of your home and view hundreds of window options. Or you can call 866-90-NATION to talk to them directly. You can save up to 30% on your heating bills and increase the value of your home. If your windows are sticking, drafty, cracked, hard to open or lock in when they close, yes, I'm here to tell you, you need new windows. You can pay no interest for 5 years. You buy 2 windows and you get 2 free on any style from Window Nation. There's no limit to it. I promise you. Simply go to windownation.com/home show. If you like to speak on the phone a little bit, call them 866-90-NATION. One more time for the people in the back. windownation.com/home show. And be sure to tell them that Ramon sent you.
Remote Kayla and Will, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors on 104.5 The Zone. Good conversation with Coach Dave McGinnis about Senior Bowl logistics and the way that works for scouts and general managers. If you missed that, if you missed any part of the show, including the slanderous portion on One Buck Rising, you can always find every hour of every show on your favorite podcast feed. Apple, Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher, as well as 1045thezone.com. 615-737-1045, our number if you want to jump in. It was a good day to beat Brian Kelly at one point in the first of the year. LSU accidentally overpaid Brian Kelly by $1 million. Must be nice.
Not a dollar.
During the first year of a 10-year, $100 million contract, but discovered the error and has moved to correct it. The Louisiana Legislative Auditor's Office said Wednesday, I guess this is maybe what they learned from when Will Wade was just accidentally dropping millions of dollars in bank accounts of really good basketball prospects.
I mean, that was an accident, Will. You got to at least say that.
Yeah, it was just an accident. Clerical error. I apologize. This five-star forward did not mean to get $2 million. Oh, just a clerical error.
Oh, he's a five-star too? Definitely an accident.
Perfect. Well, he might as well keep it.
And you want to hear a crazy money story? Like in my young career, not mine, absolutely not. And in my young career, like you hear the older guys get their new contracts and stuff like that, or dudes that's been paid for a while. And he's talked about it too, but Casey Hampton, big time D tackle at the time, Pro Bowl guy, Super Bowl champion and stuff like that at the time, had just got paid, and Hamp had been making bread for a minute because he was a first rounder too from Texas. I mean, that's probably a pay cut leaving Texas to come to Pittsburgh for a while. But it's funny, the guys were like cleaning out his locker one day just randomly. And in his locker was like a $800,000 check.
Wait, what?
That he just didn't remember he had. They was like, Hamp, hey, do you already deposit this? Is this a stub? No. It was an $800,000 check stub, like right there at the time.
That is unreal.
Yeah, he's talked about it and stuff like that. Like that was. Can you imagine like not cashing an $800,000 check?
So what was his reaction? Was it like, oh yeah, all right, or was it like, oh cool man, yeah, I'll get to it?
He's such an OG. Like Hamp by far one of the coolest Texas guys I've ever met in my life. He's such an OG. He was like, oh. All right, just hand it to me. Just put it back in the slot. We had like slots right there, for mail and stuff. It was like,
I'd be like getting out my phone, direct deposit right now, take a picture, take the back.
But I'm just like, golly. And
that's incredible.
That was one of my aha moments in NFL. Like, oh, you think you good, huh? You ain't that good. You know what I'm saying? So $1 million of Brian Kelly, that's crazy. But that was one of my welcome to the NFL moments right there. It's just like,
that's
this
an incredible
dude had
story.
$800,000 just waiting right there.
Yeah, it was a double payment that began in May and continued until LSU officials detected the errors in November.
Jeez.
They were so excited they hired him that they just didn't even know what they were paying the guy.
Give him all the money.
It was $1 million in supplemental payments in 2022 because of duplicate payments made both to Kelly's LLC and to the coach directly.
You think that was some under the table cash?
No, I think that's just maybe the way the contract worked. Where like a certain portion of it went to his LLC, maybe.
Okay.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Leave it to LSU to not know how to deal with money situations.
Hey, they flourishing down there, man.
Right?
Y'all think this was a great hire for them now that you see it?
Look, I still need another year to kind of see what trajectory they're going in, because this year was good, absolutely. Yeah. But let's just, I got to wait just another season to see exactly where he's taking them.
Yeah.
Because anything short than another natty to LSU people is like, okay, that's not enough.
Yeah.
And they've got the number one transfer recruiting class in the country.
They do?
So they ended up being number one.
I thought it was Auburn.
Florida State was the other one.
Ooh,
okay. Florida State's on the up and up now.
Yeah, they are. It's good to see Florida State be like that too. I enjoy that. I think Clemson run may be slowing down if Florida State's making moves like that.
Oh, with Garrett Riley now as their offensive coordinator, though.
At Florida State?
At Clemson.
I don't know much about Garrett Riley.
Well, they hired TCU's offensive coordinator, who's Lincoln's little brother.
Oh.
Yeah.
And so Dabo Swinney at least showed the sign that he's willing to adapt a little bit. He might not be behind closed doors because he's still not going to do transfer portal
stuff, yeah.
And he's still not going to really spend big in NIL like everyone else is. But he's at least giving the outward appearance of adaptation.
Yeah.
We'll see if he actually, when push comes to shove, is going to adapt enough for them to still be good.
I think he kind of is going to have to dabble into NIL a little more.
Dabo. Yeah. He's going to have to dabble into it. Yeah,
I saw something. Dylan just said it in there. How is Florida State and Miami doing all this cash spending, but Florida can't or won't or refuses to?
I don't think it's even a coach problem.
You don't? Okay.
I think it's athletic director and athletic department just being ready for
this.
Being ready to be organized enough and pay guys in the right way and make sure the right donors get sent to the right people, get sent to the right place.
Well, Florida better figure it out then. Quick.
Tennessee launched a more organized plan for NIL the day it started than Florida has now, a year into it. It's crazy. Coming up next, A.J. Brown is back in the headlines in Philadelphia.
You don't say.
The exact quote was, "I want the ball, but I'm not a diva." Spoken like a true wide receiver. We reset the headlines coming up at halftime of the show. Eytan Shander will join us at 8:20 out of Philadelphia. We'll recap a little bit of the conference championship headlines going into a busy Sunday. Coming up as Hour 3 begins on Ramon, Kayla, and Will, 104.5 The Zone.
8:01. Good morning. I'm Jonathan Schaefer from the Superbook.com Sports Desk. Behind another strong defensive performance, number 4 Tennessee routed Georgia 70-41. Zakai Ziegler had 11 points and 7 assists for the Basket Vols.
Ziegler gets it left side, Vescovy. Vescovy back to Ziegler. Out front, going to launch a long three, and he hits it. Money. Ziegler, his third three-pointer of the game. He's got 11 points.
Santiago Vescovy, 8 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists, 6 steals to help the Vols improve to 17-3 overall and 7-1 in league play. Meanwhile, Belmont defeated Evansville 73-64. Ben Shepherd scored 23 points. Bruins now 9-2 in conference play. Tonight, number 5 UConn at the Lady Vols. 7 o'clock will be the tip for that. And another ranked women's team in action. How about MTSU, number 23 in the land, will host FAU at 6 o'clock tonight. Jordan Poole hit the game winner for Golden State as the Warriors defeated the Memphis Grizzlies 122-120. The Grizz have now dropped 4 in a row after they had won 11 straight. And to the Hockey Barn, to Bridgestone Arena, Devils at Predators, 7 o'clock. The face-off. Nashville has won 2 in a row. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Into the second half of the show, Thursday edition continues. Ramon, Kayla, and Will, powered by all Four Seasons Garage Doors. Ramon Foster, Kayla Anderson, Jonathan Schaefer, our producer.
The best producer in the world!
I'm Will Bowling as we reset the NFL headlines coming up with Eytan Shander out of Philadelphia, our resident Eagle, who will talk a little bit of Philadelphia Eagles and tell us if Eagles fans are okay with A.J. Brown getting a little bit talkative.
Yeah.
On and off the field over the weekend. Had a little bit of frustration about not getting the ball enough against the Giants. His exact quote was, they throw the ball to me 100 times, I'm going to want it 101. Me personally, I just feel like I can change the game at any moment. Getting the ball often keeps you going, keeps you in rhythm, puts you in a zone. You're locked in. Of course, I want the ball. Ramon, Kayla, is this typical A.J. Brown behavior, or is this just a receiver being a receiver?
A receiver being a receiver. A portion of me want to say, truthfully, that's what he's supposed to say and demand and want. Y'all spent 100 M's on me. Y'all brought me here for a reason. Give me the ball. And this is the thing about wide receivers. Their justification comes down to the relationship they have with somebody else. Ain't no other position like this. Absolutely. Running back, get the ball, he do his thing with it. You know what I'm saying? Defensive end, you want a sack, go get you one. A fullback, hey, go block that man in front of you. Offensive lineman, we get nothing and we like it. But when it comes down to the wide receiver, they rely on somebody or offensive coordinator. I feel them. It looks ugly, but I feel them.
Look, he's a wide receiver. He is actually, according to PFF, the highest grade wide receiver left in the playoffs right now. And A.J. Brown, we got a taste of him here in terms of just his attitude. And A.J.'s a really nice guy. Was probably one of my favorites, to interview, especially that last season when he was coming into his own. But when it's coming to the end of the day, like, he's a wide receiver. He's got a little diva in him, and ain't nothing wrong with that. Now, sometimes when you got a camera in your face and catching you at those moments where, sometimes even like Joe Burrow said yesterday, sometimes you just kind of black out in moments. Maybe this was like a moment where he was on the bench and didn't realize how much he was putting into the conversation. But let AJ be AJ. He's doing his thing and he's backing it up. And I give him the ball as much as he wants.
When he broke it down as to why, I think I got a better understanding of it. Like, you can get out of a game. And then, of course, when it's time to come back to you, you get, in a position to where you just not interested or they found ways to really lock you down. And he don't want nobody else stealing his shine. For them to go to Devontae Smith, the first play of the game, if I'm not mistaken, that's when you knew it was probably going to be a problem. But that's probably game planning. That's the thing I do have an issue with. Wide receivers don't understand sometimes the team concept of game planning for maybe not this game, but the next game. Probably put a bigger highlight on Devontae just to get the 49ers or the team they were going to face to focus more on him so AJ can free up. That is the one little stickler about wide receivers. I'm just like, dude, we got 240 yards rushing.
Yeah.
Be cool, man. But that's the DNA of a wide receiver.
Yeah, I don't think this is anything out of the ordinary. I think this is just a number one wide receiver acting like a number one wide receiver. And Nick Sirianni did have to go talk to him a little bit during the game, and he mentioned after the game that AJ was frustrated over a lack of touches. But as a coach, I would rather have that mentality versus the other extreme where guys just don't really care.
Me too.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. Now, the only exception is there are some guys that's not their DNA. Like Terry McLaurin is not like that. Like Terry's a baller, but like you're not going to see Terry on the sideline pouting. But he's kind of a rare bird in that way.
Yeah.
AJ is the guy when it comes to you're going to get all the characteristics that go along with him.
I didn't get the sense that Corey Davis was ever like that guy.
Corey's not really either, but I don't think he was necessarily a dominant. Corey never really
Right. He was this team's number
did
one
what
receiver.
he needed to do.
But he wasn't a number one.
That's
to
what
the
I
NFL.
meant, as a number one.
100%.
Well, that also goes into the personality type, too, of those dudes when they realize it. Like, I've seen dudes realizing they're number one when I've seen them be a 2 or 3. The moment that title of number one sticks to you,
Chase Claypool?
hey.
I'm not trying to throw you under the bus,
for
but
real. For real,
It
man.
switched for him when
He
he
ain't a
became
number
the
one
guy
anymore.
in Pittsburgh, and he got shipped out of there.
Yeah.
It switches, dog.
Yeah.
Their entire mentality changed to where I don't want you to tackle me.
Right.
I'm going to dog you out in practice where I've seen guys go at like practice squad guys. Hey, keep your hands off of me, all that type of stuff. Like the moment that title goes, oh, well, that is a different beast, Kayla. I know you said like the skill guys is your specialty when like talking to them. They still stay humble. But I watch guys morph into 2 and 3 on the depth chart to number 1. Camera crews come out.
Absolutely.
Social media picks up. Clothes change. Like,
well, and you don't want it getting to the AB level, guys. Like that's where you're like, all right, step it back.
Yeah.
Because then it can actually be a detriment to you.
To where I say like the game plan don't mean anything to them. You know, like when you go to that route, like AJ, y'all won and you going into the NFC Championship game. You hadn't seen that yourself personally since 2019.
Yeah.
And you were a young dude.
Yeah.
But the wins and losses don't matter if I don't get mine. That does suck.
Well, and he didn't really get his in the playoffs in that run in 2019 because that Titans team was so based around Derrick Henry. I mean, Ryan Tannehill had like just 100 passing yards against the Patriots.
I remember that
win in
being
New
a big
England.
conversation, though.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, what did your quarterback do? It was like, did it matter what the
It didn't
quarterback
matter.
did? It didn't. But I remember, playing and stuff and remember that being a part of the conversation. Well, they have no quarterback. He's only thrown for 100 yards. Sometimes it's just a dub, but the media don't receive that. The player that's not getting the ball don't receive that at the wide receiver position. It can get kind of fishy if you don't have the right type of leadership around you to like keep that stuff in check.
A.J. Brown isn't what he is on the field without having this kind of mentality off it. I just feel like this makes A.J. This makes a number one wide receiver that level. If you're going to be that dominant as he is at that position, you're just going to have to put up with a little bit of baggage off the field, and he's got some.
He's got some.
But that's okay, and I don't think it's a ridiculous amount. I was never, even when all the contract stuff was happening last year, I sided a little bit more with him on that. And I think a lot of Titans fans, as time has passed, have maybe come around to that. I feel like he was made a villain in a lot of ways through that process.
I can agree with that.
And I'm not sure he was the villain. I think there was blame on all sides with the way it ended here. And obviously, there's no point in rehashing how it ended here because it happened, and I think people are tired of hearing about it. But for the sake of this conversation, I'm not sure he's really a bad guy. I just think he's a number one wide receiver.
He's not a bad guy. I'll be the first to say. I would never, ever call him, in my words, a villain or a bad guy. Like, there's ways you can go about things. I think he's had to mature a lot in the last year and a half because he's still maturing. Like he's still not fully like a mature guy, a player.
I think we're all saying in a sense, like, if you have that guy, that attitude, that's a good problem to have.
I think so.
You know what I'm saying?
You need a little bit of that.
Yeah, because we've seen AJ here in his time, right? Grab a 5-yard slant and go yard.
Mm-hmm.
That's the problem you're inheriting. You know what I'm saying? So I get it. It can seem like, and I'm with you. Like, man, don't say that out loud. Like, be cool.
Yeah, and he could have handled himself better on the sideline in the game. Because when the head coach has to come over and talk to you and kind of calm you down a little bit, it's probably gone a step too far.
Probably.
And I think he probably did go a step too far.
Yeah.
But he hasn't really been a line stepper in Philadelphia.
And the coach's job is to keep everything in order.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
So that sucks for his team because for people that play selfless positions, fullbacks, offensive linemen, sometimes quarterback, depending on your role, all you care about is a dub and going to the next round.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And for a guy like them, those wide receivers, they don't care. Like, look at Nook Hopkins. Nook, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's a dude that was in Houston killing it. Go to Arizona, do the exact same thing, and everything around him is in shambles. You know, so
future Titan DeAndre Hopkins.
we about to start
He's
it?
already been. No, I mean people have already started it.
It's I'm talking about the picture of Lamar Jackson, DeAndre Hopkins, and Derrick Henry.
Do we have any other breaking
together?
news yesterday?
No.
As far as like who's coming to Tennessee?
No.
No, we ain't getting it.
Even in imaginary land?
Maybe the Vols, but I mean, I can go fire up Madden real quick and make some trades if you want me to.
They still need a couple coaches.
Okay, who
You got an O-line coach. You got a
That's true.
DB's coach that hasn't been official.
We hadn't talked about the O-line
No.
side of it.
I wonder if Mike Vrabel's waiting for these head coach interviews to finally be done and see what former head coaches are available in the offensive coordinator market. That is my hunch.
How many are open still?
Houston?
Offensive coordinator
Yeah.
jobs?
Isn't there like 11?
Most of them.
Is it really that many now?
Nobody's really hired one, I don't think, other than New England.
This is the slowest cycle.
And now they're saying Sean Payton might not even be back in head coaching this year because people don't want to pay or give up that much in
First
draft
round
stocks.
pick.
Hey, you know what, Sean Payton?
You, Aaron Rodgers.
Is he
We'll see
becoming
it
a
on
diva?
Fox Sports. Coming up next, Eytan Shander will join us out of Philadelphia. We'll get his thoughts on A.J. Brown and his comments earlier this week. And the team that worries him the most for Philadelphia, starting with this San Francisco group in the NFC Championship. Eytan Shander on the other side, our friend out of Philadelphia, on Ramon, Kalen, and Will, 104.5 The Zone. Hey, it's Will Bowling. Have you looked under your house recently? If you're like most homeowners, you probably haven't. But guess what? If you have a crawl space, you could have standing water in there. And this is one of the many services that Lee Company provides to you. Over time, that can wreak havoc on your floors and walls, even your indoor air quality. What's the solution? Call Lee Company for a crawl space encapsulation, a process that removes the moisture from under your house and keeps it out. Lee Company professionals are trained and experienced in crawl space encapsulation, so contact them today to find out how they can help you protect your home investment from the crawl space on up. Give them a call at 615-567-1000. You can visit them online at leaguecompany.com and let them take care of your house, starting from the crawl space, because they are all you need. They've been trusted for nearly 80 years here in this community. 615-567-1000. They're online at leaguecompany.com. That's League Company, all you need. Hour number 3 continues on Ramon, Kayla, and Will, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. With Ramon Foster and Kayla Anderson, I'm Will Bowling. Jonathan Schaefer, our producer, as we talk conference championship weekend, Philadelphia and San Francisco. It's fun to say. Kansas City taking on the Cincinnati Bengals. And we go to the Mark Spain Real Estate Hotline and check in with our friend Eytan Shander from Fox 29 Philadelphia and oddsshopper.com. And first of all, Eytan, I just want to tell you that following you on Twitter, I've started to bet with a lot of the picks that you put out. I just want to thank you for paying for my lunch and maybe dinner today by following a lot of the bets that you've been making.
Just remember that in a week. If it's down a couple of lunches. This is on tape, right, Schaefer? Right? You're
Yes.
recording everything here? I'm coming back to
always.
this.
Oh, yeah. This is tape as in spelled Live. Yes. Perfect.
Great. I need that. Trust me. Thank you, sir. Thank you. We have ups and downs, so it's always nice to win a couple. And, yeah, spend that money when you have it. Absolutely.
Perfect. Well, Eytan, what is the mood around Philadelphia going into this weekend? I'll be honest, third matchup against a division opponent. We expected at least a close game, right, from the Giants and the way Daniel Jones had been playing. Were you surprised at all? There was nothing weird, and this was just such an easy win for Philadelphia, a third time over New York?
Well, to be fair, in hindsight, I didn't bet the game, but I just stayed away from the number itself, not the game. But not surprised in the way in which it went down. And for two reasons. One, they just match up incredibly well. You all know, all three of you know how much that matters, right, on a week-to-week basis in this league. If you have the better in certain key areas, you should go out, and when you're performing, you should go out and beat a team up. So, and also to what you mentioned, and this has been talked about at length too, coming into that Giants game, about it being the third time. That regular season finale was a joke, right? The Eagles were running a preseason offense and defense. They needed the win in order to secure the top seed, but they weren't asking Hurts to do much. And Brian Daboll looked like, a first-time Madden user doing stuff that nobody has seen before, or at least 3 years, 5-10 years in the league, right? Like crazy stuff. So it was really the second time around that both teams were trying, and I think it was just a reflection of the matchups.
Eytan, when you look at how this team has just kind of dominated this year, especially within their division, too. I mean, from the Cowboys who thought they were, on top of everything, to the Giants getting a new emergence of, winning. Also, what does that say about this team, man? Because they've been tested.
They have been. And, you've been through years and seasons, I'm sure, on the college and pro level, right, where you have to go through a little more adversity or just a little more injury or just a little more loss or just a little more frustration than maybe the winning seasons. And I think what's happened here with this team is they have completely taken on the personality of their quarterback. And it's something that we saw even to the extent of when he was gone. They turned the ball over left and right against the Cowboys in a game that they could have won. Right? And they just lose with Gardner Minshew in there. So, yeah, I think that's the key, biggest difference in this year's team versus any other team I've seen. Even the year in which Nick Foles stepped in for Carson Wentz, they weren't a complete embodiment, if you will, of Wentz.
Right.
It was more the defense. It was more Jim Schwartz. And look, we all know Jim, right? And Coach Schwartz down there, and I spent time covering Jim Schwartz down there. So, that wasn't a surprise. It was Doug Peterson and Jim Schwartz. We were writing articles and doing columns and talking on TV about how this team has taken on the personality of Doug Peterson. And that was great to a Super Bowl effect, and Schwartz to a lesser extent, too. This is Jalen Hurts. It's all Jalen. Even the Nick Sirianni. Nick Sirianni's chest-bumping people, slapping hands with the fans. He's turned into Jalen Hurts. It's amazing.
No doubt about it. And you know where the Titans organization is right now, hiring new GM. You guys took A.J. Brown away and everything. With that,
you ain't getting him back. I can tell you that.
That's real. With that being said, though, Eytan, legitimately, how does Philly get super hot, win a Super Bowl, fall off, and get back to this point again? I think that's what a team like the Titans and this fan base want to hear. What was that process like? Even the firing of a coach, too. What was that like?
Okay, so I think this is a great point to raise. And I think we also need to hold in some sort of light that not every team is the Patriots, right? Or even the Steelers, right,
Yeah.
to a lesser extent when they had this beacon of consistency. I think that you get to it in different ways, much like the jobs that we're all doing now, right? Every one of us has a different story as far as how we arrive to the media and how we rise through come up through ranks, pardon me. So the point being is that it wasn't a firing of the coach. It was Doug Peterson and Jim Schwartz having enough. There was a toxic workplace for whatever reason, and Peterson wasn't allowed control. And there were some nuances to that relationship where Peterson was like, I've had it. I need a break. And Jim Schwartz took a break and is now back in football, clearly, ever since. So I think there was something internal that both Jeffrey Lurie and Howie Roseman realized and said, all right, this wasn't the two of us. We did it with some pretty strong coaches. And for some reason, there was an internal breakdown. There was an internal breakdown of communication, of trust, in that matter. And two Super Bowl winning coaches wanted out. Jim Schwartz said, no, I don't want back. And Doug Peterson essentially tanked his exit interview so he would get fired. And from there, it was like, okay, we need to figure this thing out. We have talent on the team. And that's where I think the similarities are, Ramon, where you're talking about, what can the Titans do or how much hope or positive light there is in the Titans' future. That's where it's just relying on your talent. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, you need somebody that you can point to no matter what the situation is in the game and say, look at him.
Yeah.
Look at him. And how many times have you and I, have the four of us, how many times have I mentioned that about Jalen Hurts?
Yep.
So I don't know if you can replicate that in the draft just by getting a talent.
Okay, so speaking of Jalen Hurts, the remaining quarterbacks in the playoff, Jalen Hurts, Brock Purdy, you got Joe Burrow, and Patty Mahomes. The average age is 25.
Wow.
Freaking blow my mind. But really, when it comes down to who has the most pressure, I think some will say Patrick Mahomes. But what would you say? Would you say there's a little bit of pressure for Jalen? You're in Philly.
The pressure, I'm sorry, you just went out real quick at the end there.
Yeah, what quarterback has the most pressure on him?
Oh, sorry. I think, okay, my gut tells me, and it's going the wrong way as I get older, unfortunately, but my gut tells me that it's not Patrick Mahomes in the sense of the injury. And we'll wait and see how he is and how he plays and all, but I think even he, because he's going to win the MVP, and I think even it's a little bit less pressure. I think there's a surprise. I mean, my goodness, Joe Burrow was down 3 key offensive linemen, and here they are. They run through that Bills defense in the snow and all. So I don't know if Burrow is at the level of, oh, my goodness, if you lose, you're no longer in this category type thing. Brock Purdy is probably playing still with house money, and Kyle Shanahan has done a fantastic job. So that's my long answer in getting to Jalen Hurts. And here's why. I think internally, like in the city of Philadelphia, from fan to media to player and coach alike, there's no doubt about Jalen Hurts. But if Jalen Hurts loses, plays poorly, the Niners go all over him, now I think nationally, and look, I can't fault them for bringing this up. Now you start talking about, is this a rich person's version of the Vikings? Was Jalen Hurts a regular season hero? Was this all a mirage? He didn't deserve the MVP because, look, Patrick Mahomes, there's a lot of this year's validation, if that makes sense, riding on Jalen Hurts, which I don't think the other 3 guys have.
So when you look at this Niners defense, I mean, is good. What's the biggest thing that stands out to you that could cause some issues for this Eagles team?
Stopping the run, and I think specifically Jalen Hurts, and it's going to be difficult. But I also think the Eagles are planning on using Hurts like he's 100% healthy because he's as close to that as physically possible right now. But if it's spying, if it's just limiting certain areas of the field, if it's collapsing the pocket. I mean, they had a linebacker last week who went from the line of scrimmage and knocked a pass down in the middle of the deep field. These guys are everywhere on the field. And it's the first time. And look, Dallas destroyed Gardner Minshew, and rightfully so, because he's not capable of getting over that. But this is outside of Dallas, or arguably better than Dallas, a menacing defense that just disrupts. So I think the bread and butter, to answer your question, is coming back to the run, is coming back to Jalen Hurts extending plays. If that's taken away, I don't think the Eagles can beat the Niners with Hurts throwing 350 and 3 TDs and not running the football.
Eytan Shander, our guest from Fox 29 Philadelphia and OddsShopper.com. When you look at Brock Purdy and this 49ers offense, a couple of rookie moments over the last 2 games for Brock Purdy, but mostly still doing what he did in the regular season, which is obviously winning, but not making a lot of really big mistakes. How does this match up with Philadelphia's defense present different challenges? Are you counting on him being more of the same, or do you think he has that rookie moment in him?
They have to get him throwing the football. I saw, I believe it's twice that he's thrown over 30 times since taking over. And I think the easiest way to do that is to just continue to put them in passing situations, right? Is to try, and this is, they've struggled at times. It's been inconsistent. It hasn't been horrible all year, but it's been inconsistent in stopping the run. McCaffrey can't get loose first down. You know, Elijah Mitchell, you can't have these guys get loose first down and cave into your defense because that's going to kill you. But the one thing to look at, and I know Jonathan Gannon is the sexy defensive coordinator candidate to be a new head coach now and all this other stuff, but you've got 4 guys on that defense, that have double-digit sacks. Last week is a perfect example. These are grown men winning one-on-one battles, and they are winning these battles way more often than they're losing these battles. And I would love to have that as a bet winning percentage, trust me, because it's like 75% of the time. But they're monsters. And they cause so much individual havoc that from an offensive line, and this is where, Shanahan's going to have to earn his money, right? That offense, getting the ball out quick and fast. But just because you're getting the ball out quick and fast, you can't take that tally away from throwing the football. So they're already moving away from their comfort zone if Brock Purdy has to throw the ball 35, 36, 38, 40 times, which I think could be possible. Hey, those 4 guys up front keep winning one-on-one battles. It's going to be really tough to stop this team.
Eytan, on the way out, which matchup concerns you the most of the 3 teams left going up against Philadelphia? Who do you feel like is the most dangerous to take down the Eagles? Because I feel like you could make a pretty good case for any of the 3 teams that are left.
So it's actually this week, because I think the one thing that the Eagles have struggled with consistently over the season is that short, mid, and deep middle of the field. And if you want to talk about linebacker coverage, if you want to talk about safety or just deep help, they've struggled. And the one position that can really get over on them is the tight end spot. Now, the Eagles have a beast in Dallas Goedert, don't get me wrong, but we've seen somebody woke George Kittle up, and I don't like that. I don't like that at all. So, look, we'll talk about the Chiefs or the Bengals. If we get there, there are some concerns, clearly. But Joe Burrow seems to survive when being harassed and sacked a lot, so that may neutralize what the Eagles do on defense. Mahomes is like the villain in the movie where we killed you 6 times. How are you still here? Right? So I don't even want to think about that. But honestly, the one on-the-field matchup that truly concerns me with all of these teams is this week, middle of the field, George Kittle just exposing and exploiting.
Love it. Great stuff as always with our friend Eytan Shander from Fox 29 Philadelphia and OddsShopper.com. I will keep following to get more lunches in the future, Eytan. We appreciate the time, though, as always.
Let's do it, brother. I'm not even taking a percentage. I love it. Thank you all.
Perfect.
Thanks,
There's Eytan Shander with us this morning, making time for us on the Marks Paid Real Estate Hotline. Got a TV hit to do, so we break with him a little bit early here this morning on the show. But I think that's interesting about San Francisco being the most difficult matchup for Philadelphia, because for me right now, from the unbiased perspective, I just want no piece of them or San Francisco. And it's crazy that we're doubting the 1 seed that has a quarterback that's won a Super Bowl out of all of these guys as kind of the dark horse in Kansas City because of his health.
I know, and that's very telling, as far as what everybody thinks about Patrick Mahomes' athletic ability too. But San Francisco, I mean, you can flip a coin in this game. You pretty much say, as far as San Francisco and the Eagles go, it could really go either way. Mm-hmm. If Brock Purdy stays calm and stays in his wheelhouse, as Eytan said, then they're good to go.
Right.
Like, he's got so many pieces around him that's available to him to make plays, and the extension of plays too, because it's really a super dynamic matchup. You got O-line in Philly that's pretty good. You got O-line in San Fran that's really good. And both defensive side of the ball got friggin' all-pro guys on it.
Mm-hmm.
This, I don't want to call it the Super Bowl because I'm hoping the AFC side has something to say about that. But these two teams right here may be 1-2. And I know it's disrespectful to say that with Patrick Mahomes still in the cusp of being, in his trajectory up still.
I think Eytan was pretty critical of the Eagles. I mean, he wasn't sugarcoating things.
Yeah.
He said, look, Jalen Hurts, as healthy as he is, and we were a little bit surprised that he was that healthy because we were still questioning that shoulder. He said he can't do it all himself. No. In this specific situation with this specific defense, you have to make sure that offense is running on all cylinders. And I said running. That's because that has to be a big part of the game plan. And if it's not, he said they're going to lose the game.
Yep.
And guess what? Jalen Hurts has a lot of pressure on him. You want to say it or not, in Philadelphia, that's all that matters, and the pressure is on.
It is.
It can switch quickly in that crowd, too, because there are a lot of crowds that can quickly become a detriment to their team if it gets a little toxic. I've seen a little bit of that in Neyland Stadium over the years.
That's so true, Will.
Because there's a similar pressure put on those guys, right?
Yeah, I witnessed it the Alabama game.
Yeah.
Legitimately, I was just like, I'm on just tilts anyway,
There's anxiety in the building.
It's so much, especially at the stakes. Like, they're on the way to the Super Bowl. Like, Tennessee Vols at a point to where they were trying to beat Bama for the first time in 15 years. And you saw the fans, to your point, react to an interception, not realizing that the game's got to play out. And about 3 minutes later,
game was tied.
Game is tied.
Yeah, there are people leaving my row as soon as Hendon threw the pick in the end zone that Bama returned and then was called back for pass interference.
As a player that had to deal with crowds,
yeah,
I ain't going to say it bothers you because that seems kind of soft to say.
Sure.
But you see the reaction. It's almost like, well, they've counted us out already.
Telling you.
Well, look at Purdy. He has nothing to lose.
He doesn't.
He has nothing to lose. He's not even supposed to be here.
The two most fragile quarterbacks, though, to your point about asking about him, is Brock Purdy and also Jalen, too. Because with Brock, it's like, if you do this thing, boy, you're good to go for a little while. Then in off-season comparison, Brady. We'll probably hear that, right?
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
And with Jalen, it's like, you got everything in front of you.
Out of all the four quarterbacks left, the one I want on my team is Joe Burrow.
Me too.
That's crazy.
Give me Joe Burrow, baby.
In their current states, Mahomes is the better quarterback.
Yeah.
In their current states with Mahomes at 60%, there's no question. Of the four quarterbacks left, I want Joe Burrow on my team.
You want to hear something that's crazy? I was checking on something on social media, and the Menace himself, Mike Hilton, we all know him now because the plays he make, right? That's where we are.
Had a pick, one of the picks against the Titans.
When they knew they had the game in lock, cameras were on him. And he said, can't wait for next week. We're going to Burrowhead. He's calling Arrowhead Burrowhead.
And Joe was asked about that yesterday, and he kind of downplayed it.
Dog.
But you could tell in the back of his mind, well, we are kind of.
Could you imagine? I know you played with a pretty confident and
not
good
young
leader
and confident like this, though.
But not 25 or 26 and confident like this.
Listen to me, y'all. To y'all point about which quarterback do you want? He's calling Arrowhead Burrowhead. Even if Joe didn't say it himself, Kayla, that is a cocky. Well, that's tough.
Coming up next, good news for Titans fans, as there's been a development in the Indianapolis Colts head coaching search.
The Indianapolis Colts.
Jim Irsay has done one of the weirder things that he's done in quite some time.
I can't wait.
But it's not surprising at all. Coming up next, Ramon, Kayla, and Will, 104.5 The Zone.
It's Ramon Foster from myphdweightloss.com, man. Let me give you a quick testimony real quick. I went in a barbershop yesterday and my barber saw me. He was like, hey, you doing it, huh? I was like, man, I'm just working one day at a time. I'm downplaying it like I should. I told him, I was like, man, if you want to work it too, you need to go to myphdweightloss.com and get started on your journey too, man. Again, y'all know what I say. It's summertime fun happens in the winter, and it is cold. I heard it's snowing around certain places, but in that, get your plan together, your game plan for the summer, for your life, honestly, to drop those pounds. I'm down close to 50 pounds now, and I'll be honest with you, I didn't think it was possible, and I was kind of hesitant a little bit too. you, but it works. It works for me. It's working for Buck Rising also. And if you want to get on with My PhD Weight Loss, simply go to the website, which as it's named after itself, myphdweightloss.com, and craft a plan for yourself to feel better, look better, and just make that change that you promise yourself every year at the top of the year, January 1st. Again, every plan is specific to you. There's no pressure to it. I have my call today with Rachel to discuss my plan moving forward for the rest of the week. It's very personalized. Go see myphdweightloss.com and be sure to tell them that Ramon sent you.
Jeff Saturday is the guy you go get when you want Mike Vrabel, but your mom says you have Mike Vrabel at home. It's like, no, son, we can't have Mike Vrabel here. We have Mike Vrabel at home.
He's the Diet Dr. Thunder of Mike Vrabel?
Dr. K. That's the one right there.
Yeah.
Come on, Dr. K.
Dr. K. Yeah, no, we can't stop at Sonic on the way home because we have Mike Vrabel at home. And then you get home and all you have is Jeff Saturday.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like the Colts might just keep Jeff Saturday instead of going to get the premium brand.
Go on with their bad selves.
Ramon, Kayla, and Will, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. Jordan Schultz reporting this morning, NFL Insider for The Score, saying, I'm told Colts owner Jim Irsay believes Jeff Saturday has the capabilities to be a head coach. Yeah. That's why Saturday's in this position and why Indianapolis might deliberate and take their time with a decision. Adding that Saturday would pick his own staff, which he relayed in his interview. Now, this is where it gets funny. Well, the whole thing's funny.
It's not already funny?
I know, right? What's the hesitation?
He had sources. Jim Irsay's number one choice for head coach remains Jeff Saturday, while others in the Colts front office prefer different leading candidates. Well, because those guys are smart. Saturday, I'm told, he's told, presented his staff choices during his second interview on Wednesday. Irsay has not sat in on most interviews. So Irsay is just not showing up, apparently, when they're interviewing legit candidates. And then when Jeff Saturday comes in, oh, Jeff's here. I'm going to go walk in and I gotta go sit in with Jeff. He's a Colt for life.
That's tough.
My goodness. Jim Irsay, thank you for your service to the AFC South.
I don't know what to say about it. And I don't want to trash a Jeff Saturday as a person, but the job itself, and then we're not trashing him, but the understanding of what his role is wasn't a head coach in my mind. You know, it's just because you played the game sometime don't mean that, you know, you're the guy for the job. Like,
was that Red?
Was that me?
That was you.
Oh, that was you.
That was Ramon. Ramon's line.
What I'm saying
Best producer in the world, Craig.
Is one thing to be a morale guy and be a leader as far as your team goes, but it's a lot to manage the NFL roster, y'all. I know it is, and I ain't even that privy to that much information, but seeing the ins and outs of it, there's meetings that happen that former players, head coaches, like, you got to be really embedded in what coaching is.
Well, let's flip it, too. I mean, Jeff Saturday has seen a lot in the short time he has been the interim head coach there. Yeah. It seems like a pot of I don't know what stirring around over there, up there, with Jim Irsay, and I know they have a good relationship, but nothing seems stable there.
No.
If you're Jeff Saturday and you know what lies ahead, If that were me, and I'm a competitive person, I know you guys are competitive people, I just don't think I'd even want the job. I just don't think that is, I don't know, maybe that's been his dream his whole life, but it didn't seem like it was.
No.
It seemed like he was fine and happy at ESPN until Irsay begged him to come over there.
Jeff Saturday has double the interviews with the Colts as he has wins as a head coach of the Colts.
I love how you just tomahawk dunk that every time, Will.
1 win, 2 interviews.
Jeez.
I don't get it.
Hey, it's just one of those, like, daddy's money is going down the drain because Irsay's taking over and he want to do it his way. It's my turn. That's what he sound like right now. You know what I'm saying? Good luck to him. Titans fans, buckle up. Y'all going to be beating them for years.
You do you.
Yeah, boo-boo.
Just save that money for bottle service in Indianapolis like Buck did in college. Don't spend it on a bad head coach.
Don't spend it on that.
There's good shrimp cocktails right around the corner.
Jim's getting bottle service. We know this. Every night.
I think so.
It's my turn!
I had a joke ready. That's inappropriate. I'm not going to do it.
When has that ever held you back?
During the break, please.
Well, I'll do it on the break. Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, I'll do it on the break.
Coming up next, the fourth quarter of the show, we reset the headlines. Take a look at an upset-minded night in the SEC. Tennessee rolls, Alabama survives. Auburn falls with Ron Slay on the mic. Coming up next, fourth quarter, 4's up around Middle Tennessee. And yeah, we're even going to let Ramon talk about offensive linemen for the next hour on 104.5 The Zone.
Freaking bum.
8:59. Good morning. I'm Jonathan Schaefer from the Superbook.com sports desk. Behind another strong defensive performance, number 4 Tennessee routed Georgia 70-41. Zakai Ziegler, 11 points, 7 assists for the Basket Vols.
Ziegler gets it left side, Vescovy. Vescovy back to Ziegler. Out front, going to launch a long three, and he hits it. Money. Ziegler, his third three-pointer of the game. He's got 11 points.
Bob Kessling, as it was heard on the zone, Santiago Vescovy had 8 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists, including that one, and 6 steals to help the Vols improve to 17-3 overall, 7-1 in SEC play. Meanwhile, Belmont defeated Evansville 73-64. Ben Shepherd scored 23 points. The Bruins are 9-2 in conference play. Big women's hoops matchup tonight. One of the biggest rivalries in women's college basketball. Number 5 UConn at Tennessee. 7 o'clock will be the tip for that. FAU at number 23 MTSU, 6 o'clock for that one. Jordan Poole hit the game winner for Golden State as the Warriors defeated the Memphis Grizzlies 122-120. The Grizz have now dropped 4 in a row after they'd won 11 straight. And downtown to Bridgestone Arena, Devils at the Predators, 7 o'clock face-off. Nashville has won 2 in a row. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5. The Zone.
Into the fourth and final hour this morning. Happy Thursday, Junior in Music City, USA. We are Ramon, Kayla, and Will, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors, with 11-year NFL veteran Ramon Foster, with the journalist whose J is only ever capitalized in this building and any other building where you may be saying her name, Kayla Anderson, and the best producer in the world, Jonathan Schaefer, behind the glass.
It's my turn.
It's your turn. Go ahead. Best producer in the world.
Right.
The best producer in the world. Of the world, Craig. The world.
It's the only time I can demand audio on this show is when it is promoting Jonathan Schaefer.
That's not true.
Or
I'm Will Bowling.
Or if there's buck slander, that's all.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
there's
also
buck
true.
slander. I mean, that's
Hardly know her.
come on now.
I love your hardly knowers. Those are pretty good.
Good morning, Buck. If you're just now waking up and listening this morning, we have had fun. He retweeted us when we sent out the tweet at 7 this morning. Buck does get up early.
Yeah, he does.
Oh, he does his workouts.
I don't think he sleeps either.
No, he doesn't.
No.
Buck told me that once. He was like, I only sleep like maybe 4 or 5 hours a night.
Give it
Oh,
time.
no,
I was
no,
like,
no,
Buck,
no,
buddy,
no.
what are you? Oh, no, baby. What are you doing?
Oh, no, baby.
No, baby.
Thank
No, baby.
No, baby.
Please save him. No, baby.
Swing, bada, 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 swing.
For a while, I had to get 8 hours or else I was worthless. We've evolved from that.
What are
since
you
then.
on now? 6?
6.5 to 7.
I mean,
That's
define
still
worthless.
appropriate.
Well, many would say. Not me, but many would say. Already worthless. But okay. I was that way when I was running because I would get hurt and or sick
Jeez.
if I didn't sleep enough.
For real?
Oh, yeah.
It was common like that?
It's different for everybody.
It is.
Like I had to like do the nutrition right. I had to do all the stretches. I had to do all the PT once I got hurt.
Okay.
Like
gotta-
Patty Mahomes this
You
week.
got to keep doing the PT also.
Who?
Anyone that gets
Yeah.
hurt
Oh, heck yeah.
for like
There's
the
no
next
time
year.
off.
Like that just is like, oh, this is just something I deal with now.
Well, the thing is injury prevention.
Yeah, right.
That's what
Yeah.
you're doing it for. You said it yesterday.
Talk to the Titans about that one.
Are
By
they
the way,
gonna-
happy birthday, Joshua Dobbs.
Dobby's birthday today?
Go Vols.
Nice.
It is.
Man, he got his golf tournament coming up soon too. I think
Is he
it
getting
may-
on the show here soon?
Oh,
No, you
we'll
gotta
have
call
to.
your brother up.
Yeah, I'll make that happen then. Let me holler at Dobby boy. Hey, Dobbs. Hey, get over here.
Hey.
He played at the Senior Bowl, didn't he?
Astronaut.
I'm not sure if he did or not. Did he?
I believe he
I
did.
can look it up.
By the way, Bill O'Brien officially hired as offensive coordinator in New
Oh,
England.
hey now.
Good.
That was a minute ago. They from the @Patriots. Go ahead and
Patriots
officially
actually
announce
did
it.
it. Okay.
Good
It's
for
a good
them.
source.
Alabama people are rejoicing right now.
That was the offensive
Yes, they are.
coordinator that had been hired.
Yeah, I said
Okay.
that. Yeah,
Okay.
That's the only one that's been
Got it.
been taken. 615-737-1045 is our number. We're going to have a conversation about offensive line coming up in about 15 minutes.
Yeah, Dobbs did Senior Bowl.
Yep. I remember him playing pretty well in the Senior Bowl.
Did he?
Yeah.
Some people just gamers like that, man.
I remember that conversation like it was yesterday when it was him and Justin Worley that season in 2014, because he was a year ahead of me at Tennessee, and it was him against Worley, and it was just like he's just not a practice player. And then he got in the game, and didn't matter how bad he practiced, he took over.
So was that really a thing, like in college and in that he wasn't a practice player?
Yeah, was it?
I don't really get how that. I can't see Dobbs as not a practice player.
That was early on in his. That was when he was a freshman, literally a true freshman at that point, also. But that was the narrative for sure.
Yeah. I mean, it happens. Some guys are open to it like that, though. I mean, you need to be put in those environments. I guess that's one of the reasons why Allen Iverson. We talking about practice.
Practice.
Like, as much as he joked about that and said that, like, he knew he had a switch.
Yeah.
Sure.
And I think that's probably Josh's situation. Like, some people crumble on the lights or in front of people, or the idea that, I got to do this every single time. That could be a lot for people to handle. And practice is sometimes structured in a way to where coaches want to see specific stuff. Oh, let me see you throw this on this route. Where are you actually supposed to go? And maybe that was probably one of Dobbs' biggest defects is like, man, let me cook in Russell Wilson's terms, let me cook a little bit.
Right. Mm-hmm. Did you play with any guys like that who weren't good in practice but then were gamers?
I'd say I saw more older guys. You see like guys, it's probably about year 5 or 6 or 7, that they just look like trash in practice or didn't really practice at all, but come game day. I mean, it's one guy in particular, Hall of Famer, Troy Polamalu.
Really?
You wouldn't get much out okay, I'll say this.
Yeah.
In camp time, when Troy got ticked off a little bit, so somebody
showed him up,
or the receivers had a really good day, I distinctly remember Troy the next day in practice, ponytail tight, buckles on, helmets tighten up, and it was going to be a rough day for the offense.
Humble these guys.
When he made a point to flip the switch, you know what I'm saying? It was an issue. But during the week, he's walking around hey, how you
Did
guys
he let
doing?
his hair down?
Really?
No, that was another switch for him too.
How good was the hair? Because it looked like
because
it
it stays in a knot the entire time. He's walking around, it's not free flowing like the commercials you see.
I know, right?
It's in a ponytail knot. And I remember somebody told me, hey, young fella, watch him. It was on his intros coming out of the tunnel.
Oh.
He pulled that rubber band off. And he snatched it and he did the spin and the hair came out of it. It was like Superman showed up.
It's like his cape.
You weren't even running during the week.
Wow.
It was amazing to
funny.
watch. You ever seen people be like, well, I'm sure you've seen runners or somebody just do something. It's like, man, it's about time for you to retire. Or y'all recruited him?
Yeah, right.
And then him shows up.
We had a bunch of guys. Well, I had one senior, because when I got to Tennessee, we had a huge recruiting class of freshmen. I think we had 8 of us.
Yeah.
Which is considered a pretty big distance recruiting class.
Yeah.
They're way bigger now, but because they're better now. And we had a sophomore class ahead of us of 5 guys. And then we had 3 seniors. There were no juniors on the entire team.
Yeah.
There were 3 seniors, and one of them was almost as old as I am now. It was a redshirt senior. And one of them, they were so they just didn't care anything we wanted to do. They were just all right, y'all are all young and kids, so we're just going to. And they weren't really that good, but it was still that was always the thing when we're veterans. We have the experience. I'm okay, but we've never been good while you've been here. So why would I go with your experience? And one of them, I wanted to watch an Arsenal game actually freshman year, and I was laying in the dorm Sunday morning, and we were supposed to do our long run on our own. Because typically we'd have Sunday 8 a.m. runs every Sunday morning, get in the van, go to Oak Ridge and run either 13 or 11 miles.
Okay.
And we did it on our own that day because I think we had a race the day before.
Mm-hmm.
So we're supposed to do a long run on our own as a team the next day. And I was like, no, I'm just going to go do it later on my own. I kind of want to watch this game. And I kid you not, one of the seniors grabbed my bedding, pulled it off of me, and threw it outside in the hallway. It was like, get dressed, we're running right now.
Oh, wow.
So
Not
yeah, they
messing
were,
around.
and I was like, dude, just go.
Don't you hate
just
those dudes,
You're taking
though?
6 hours of class, and you just wanted one more season of cross country. Like, just
One
go
more,
do
just
something
one
else.
more.
I hate those types of dudes.
He literally,
man.
and he was. Well, they mentioned that in our fantasy football group text the other day because we have a Tennessee cross country alum, stars, and more, and I'm the and more because I
I
was
thought
neither
you were
a
going to be
star.
under the star
I
part.
definitely was giving the star portion of it.
Absolutely not. And so he was talking about that. He was like, "Yeah, I remember one time because I forgot to pay my dues for the fantasy league because I was on a flight when everybody was paying it.
Okay.
The text message never sent, and he was like, "Do I have to come in and just take all your betting off your bet again to make you come pay me for winning fantasy football this year?"
Oh,
No, you don't.
I hate those types of dudes, though. So that's why you're going to be working for me one day. That's what you told him, I will.
No.
They'll be the runner.
Yeah. What's wild, though, is you speak about running like 11 miles like it was nothing. You know how hard
was
1
nothing.
mile is for a person, Will?
It is hard for me now.
The huffing and puffing that people do to get to 1 mile.
I know.
Speak for yourself.
You're running like that?
What do you mean? Am
She's
I
a
runner?
runner. She's a track star.
Knew that was coming.
Am I built? Am I short?
Yeah.
I got long legs.
Yeah, I know.
I
but
ran a half marathon.
Did you really?
What do you mean? Yes.
We've never talked about this. I don't know.
I
We're not
don't
supposed to
share
just
life
naturally
stories
know
on
that.
here.
Half marathon.
No, I've
either.
talked to you about it. How I ran it and had issues at the end
That's
because
right.
I ate like a
Yeah,
energy
that's right.
thing. Yeah, I love running. Like if I just don't do it outside a lot because I
Yeah.
just don't trust people.
I feel you on that.
I'm not running around anywhere.
It was
Yeah.
fun while it lasted. I think in high school, I was like I was a product of just having really good coaches, really good teammates. Like I just showed up
That's
for
a part of
practice
it, too.
from 6th grade to senior year and was just like, I don't know, it wasn't like me being talented. It was just I had really good people around me. So I realized when I got to Tennessee
So it's kind of like now.
I'm serious. And I realized when I got to college, I was like, I don't really know these guys that well. Like we're not very good.
Yeah.
And then I was a product of the people around me in college too, and I wasn't very good.
So it's kind of like now.
That's part of it too. Sometimes you just gotta be there. I
Yeah,
look
right.
at some people and be like, man, you won a Super Bowl in your rookie year. You ain't even do nothing, but you there.
Yeah, you're there.
Yeah,
You're on
you
the
can't get
team.
mad at what actually happens. I guess that's why you see people now teaming up in the transfer portal too, right?
It's the sad thing about what I did though, is that most people who are college athletes could go step on like a blacktop if they're a basketball player or just go anywhere and dominate like anybody in their sport.
Mm-hmm.
Like somebody that played football, like, because I ran I was done in 2016. So I ran 7 years ago now.
Okay.
Like most people, if they were 7 years removed from their sport, like a basketball player could go join a men's league team and just dominate.
I've seen Ron do that.
I am now I am worse than the average person at my sport now.
Straight up.
I am horrible at running now.
That's because your knees are about to go.
Yeah.
At least for when we hear you crack.
I know.
And when you get up from that seat,
When
and
I
we're like,
stand up and it sounds like a bag of popcorn is starting to.
Yeah.
It's not
Ramon's
even
like, what
that.
the?
But
Yeah.
it was mostly my Achilles because I just can't. Like I've tried to run 3 or 4 times after college and I'll get hurt within like 2 or 3 weeks.
Shafe says you have a sickness though.
What's that?
Just running
My
is
sickness is
Running
Oh.
is a sickness.
I know.
Yeah, running's a mental illness.
That's enough about me though.
Look, you only have to be faster than the slowest camper when being chased by a bear. That's it.
The bear's hunting you down no matter what.
And the bear gonna tussle for a little
You just
Good
got to
luck
be
with
faster than the
that.
slowest camper.
Yeah, no, that's the problem. Is I could go do a road race, do like a
Yeah.
community 5K tomorrow. I'd be like in the hundreds. Like I would do so bad.
Is the hundreds good?
No, I'm saying like in like a 300 person road race, I'd be in the 150s. Like I'm terrible.
If I'm in the 150s on the road
Yeah.
race, I'm crushing it. Okay.
Oh, okay. Anyway,
You'll probably be top 50.
I
You
think I could
minimize
get it back if I could stay healthy long enough to like if I put in a month of training, like I could get some of it back.
Yeah. Do the grounds matter in cross country running?
Like what you run on?
No, like if it's super soft grass
That's what
or
I'm
if it's
saying.
Yeah, that's what
rained
he's saying.
before.
What-
Oh, it makes
he's
a big
running on.
difference.
It makes a big difference.
So a track, you get if you wear spikes instead of shoes, spikes are 3 seconds per mile that you're faster.
if spikes are faster
Oh,
than
yeah.
shoes,
Oh yeah.
I think shoes give
When
you more
you're
bounce.
digging in and they're lighter too. So if you're on a track, you run fast. Like I had a buddy, shout out my guy J Bell, coaches at Brentwood Academy now. We were teammates in high school. We ran at Georgetown, and the way he ran, he was actually better on a track than on grass because of the way his feet hit the ground. He got more of a kickback on track than he did grass.
Huh.
Track is a faster surface than, than grass because you get more of a bounce back. So it's less energy you have to exert. And this has been Talking Running with Will Bolt.
But golly, you've almost confused me because I see the shoes
Well,
as
go out
having.
there and do it yourself. And
I
see.
see the shoes as giving you more cushion to
I got them
push
on right
off.
now.
Let's go. Let's go. Let's
These are light though.
get you out there, Mo.
No, I ain't saying all that now. What I'm
Oh, I
saying
am.
is,
I'm saying that.
break it down to me now. Don't act
Far
like
too
I'm
slow.
going to go away from out of a job.
And
Don't
nobody,
act like I'm
nobody
the-
needs me to nerd out about this sport. These 5 minutes. I don't know
want
how
to
many
see
people.
Ramon. I want to see him now in cleats versus running shoes out in the back parking lot. Let's do a 40.
Go to
Not
break.
cleats,
do a
just
40.
like I mean spikes.
Me and the 40 ended in
Got my video.
2009.
5 too slow.
my video.
Too slow. It's crazy. His evaluation of me was off that much.
Far too slow.
Look, that's enough. We don't.
I
need to
know
talk
what you're
about.
saying. I know what you're trying to do. Saying
I told
that,
you I
Mo.
shoot back at all
I know
times.
what you're saying. Yeah.
Listen, I promise you, no one cares that
Sometimes
much about my.
He's
athletic
catching a
career.
stray. I know what you're doing.
But I called a stray that day, and it continues to this day.
Well, you'll be
One
all
of
right.
us is still
Suck it
here.
up.
Wow. If you want to hear me talk about track in the right context, I'll let you know next time I'm doing a track broadcast.
No, baby.
Yeah, I know. Exactly. I know tens of you will
That
be there to watch.
is no-
Tens of you. Coming up next, mostly my family. We talk offensive
to the
line with
no.
Ramon Foster. Now that I've had a chance to talk about my
Great,
terrible
from running
joints.
to the offensive line.
Yeah, just please don't fall asleep yet. Just give him a couple minutes. No. I've already put you to sleep. What makes an offensive lineman, specifically a tackle, a top 15 prospect versus a day 2 or 3 prospect? The Titans have drafted a second-round tackle. The Titans might now have the opportunity to draft a tackle number 11 overall. We go inside the film room with Ramon Foster. What makes a tackle top 15 worthy? What makes them day 2 or 3 worthy? Coming up next, Will on Ramon, Kayla, and Will, 104.5 The Zone.
Not really an athlete.
All right, my fine friends out there. What's the weather doing today? Okay, the window's up. It looks dreary. Great. But it will get warm soon. And so if you need to be prepared for both, we've got a company for you. We like to actually call them our family. Spring Hill Heating and Cooling. They are the heating and cooling company that can take care of all of your HVAC needs. And get this, Spring Hill Heating and Cooling is York certified expert company, always backed by that 10-year parts and labor warranty on York products. And like I said, Ramon, this is a family-owned business, so they take a lot of pride in what they're doing and how they take care of their customers.
Oh, no doubt about it. And that family, Kayla, is trying to get bigger because they are now hiring. And I'm telling you, the perks are out of this world. They offer you medical, dental, and vision benefits. They match your 401k to give you vacation and holiday pay. And if you need training, no problem. They have that covered too with company and factory training. They have their own fully stocked trucks. They have aggressive incentive packages and top pay. Apply to join the Spring Hill Heating and Cooling family at springhillac.com/careers or email them at careers@springhillac.com.
Check them out.
Fourth and final hour, rolling right along on Ramon, Kayla, and Will. Powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. Ramon Foster, Kayla Anderson, Will Bowling with you, and Jonathan Schaefer, our producer. So I want to talk some offensive line with Ramon Foster, which I say reluctantly. Not really. We give him a lot of crap. And this actually is good football conversation because the Titans are not only going to be in a position to draft an offensive lineman at number 11.
Yeah.
They're also going to be in the position to draft maybe 2 or 3 linemen on days 2 and 3 at literally any position. You could go, that's right. You could get a right tackle in day 2 or 3 that could be a day 1 starter and move an NPF to the left side. You can get a left tackle at number 11 and Nicholas Petit-Frere can stay your right tackle. You could get a center in the 3rd or 4th. That could be your starting center once Ben Jones is done, which could be this offseason. So, Ramon, I'll start here. What makes a lineman, specifically at the tackle position, we'll start there, a top 15 prospect?
Ooh, first thing, the one thing you cannot buy, size. Yep. That justifies a lot. At those tackle positions, let's go specifically left because they're labeled a certain way different than right tackles. Right tackles look like Conklin. Okay, let's just break that down. Bigger guys that are more run blockers than they are pass protectors. They're good as far as the passing game goes on the right side, but they're better suited probably in the run game and just being an eraser when it comes down to protecting that edge. The left tackle is more of a slender basketball-looking guy. Long arm, long digits, the ability to be flexible, athletic. Their 40 time is probably faster than the right tackle position when it comes down to it. They move gracefully. Like, that's what a left tackle is when you just break down the thesis of what they do and how they're supposed to look. And I know, of course, you have shorter guys. I played next to a guy that was like 6'2", 6'3". So he's not a 6'6" guy. But I look at him in a sense and say, I want my left tackle 6'5" to 6'7". If they're taller, actually, that could be more of a detriment to them.
Really?
Because leverage.
Okay.
Leverage is a thing when it comes down. No, like shorter guys like a Freeney or like an Aaron Donald that rushes outside the edge, or a guy with really good hip flexibility like Myles Garrett. Yes, I can cover you up, but being the fact that I'm super tall, my bend may a little bit different. Yeah, you don't need a waist bender when it comes down to those positions. Specifically speaking about like why I don't want a guy 6'8". You know what I'm saying? Like 6'5" to 6'7" is where I want my left tackle.
Taylor? How tall is
Taylor's what, like 6'5", 6'6"?
Okay.
I want to say 6'5".
Yeah, he's 6'5", 6'6". We were like eye to eye as far as like height. So Taylor's
6'7".
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? He's in that world right there of being taller.
This was Coach Mack's answer to this question earlier this morning, and I want to get y'all's reaction to this as well because Coach Mack had a pretty specific trait he looks for in elite linemen.
Movement. The movement part of it is what separates those guys. Yeah. Not only the movement, but then also you've got to combine that with the ability to have enough tenacity to do it down in and down out, down in and down out. And then you are always looking to try to discern and find that guy. And this is sometimes what the 40-yard dash won't tell you, or what the short shuttle won't tell you, or what, is those guys that have the tenacity and the inner drive that it takes to be an offensive lineman in this league, because that is not an easy task.
Yes. So what separates second, third round, and fourth round? I'm not saying those guys can't take that big leap too, but to be picked in the first round to me says this. His speed needs to be about a 4.7, no higher than a 4.9. He meets that. His arms just as long as his height, if not longer. And then when I'm looking at his tape, because that's where the draft comes into play as far as, being drafted that high. Did he dominate specifically in run and pass? Can I trust him even as a young guy on day one to get in on that left side specifically and protect my quarterback? What did you do against his competition? Who did he play and how did he play them? And also the attitude aspect of film too. Did he turn down guys? Did he submit to guys? Like, that matters, because the O-line position is one where if you're that type of athlete, all of that is going to be there. The strength, the running, the jumping, all of that is going to be there. But what separates them is their ability to finish, their ability to be good in the run and pass game, and are they smart enough to handle it too? Like, do you understand angles better than the guy next to you? Like, do you understand combo blocks a little bit better? What type of offense did you play in somewhat that's going to prepare you for this many dropbacks? Like, you got to be the same way we look at the shutdown corner, right? Yeah. Where they blanket one side of the field. It's the same way you look at the offensive tackle, left tackle specifically. Do I have to worry about Myles Garrett? Do I have to worry about these supreme rushers on the outside? Like, those are the questions you're asking yourself. Their punch, hand placement, are they violent in their punch too? When they go out to put their hands on somebody, are we dancing? Meaning, I'm mirroring you and there's nowhere you can go. The hips, to me, is probably the biggest determining factor when it comes down to saying a guy is elite or not, because you hear this being thrown around a lot. Waist bender. Well, what does waist bending mean? Probably his feet a little slow behind him, so he tends to reach for the defender as opposed to being able to cover them up. If I bend my waist, meaning I'm leaning, defenders can take full advantage of it. They're going to pull you, rip you, spin you around, all those types of things. And if that does happen, because it's going to happen, ain't no if, you're going to bend your waist at some point in time, are your hips fluid enough to move you back inside to cover them up?
So here's the question. We had this conversation in the green room off the radio, but with the assessment of Dylan Radins then, when they drafted him, coming off of a pandemic year, he went to NDSU, North Dakota State. That's a great school, but let's just be real. The competition is not at the level that other offensive linemen are competing in every single day. With him, do you just think they got the evaluation just like it wasn't right?
And that was that the COVID year or was that 21? Yeah, that was.
But it was coming off a year where I don't think they played a lot.
It was 21, yeah, because Isaiah Wilson was COVID year.
Here we go. That night, you said you heard me on the broadcast with Coach Tim.
I was driving in Knoxville, and literally the second he was drafted on Titans radio, Ramon says, I see him as a guard.
Let me tell you why. And it's me looking at his 40 justified it. His feet were heavy. He moved like, if you hear me on the airways, I'm stomping my feet. Yeah. That's kind of how he moved. You want your left tackle, it needs to be that the entire time.
Quicker turnover
of the feet. And then I saw him also being more of a waist bender. He leaned a little bit more. Even if he didn't do it at tackle, I saw that trait of him moving forward with his body as opposed to stand straight up, having really good hips, a really good core, and really good punch. I didn't see that much. In those Senior Bowl practices that he had, I saw him finishing blocks leaned over. Then I saw his chest backing up and pushing them backwards. And I thought to myself and evaluating, like, guard.
Yeah.
And you can get away with that at guard because he's a good enough athlete to be moved inside at guard than he is an NFL tackle. I had that issue. That's why I could spot it. I was like, my feet were good enough for college, getting to an angle, because I might have been going against a sophomore or a senior that didn't know how to rush like NFL rushers do. The one thing that you're going to learn in this league is what you thought you knew in college, if you're just a little bit below the line athletically, is going to get exposed. And that's what I thought with him. Put him in a place to protect himself inside, and that's guard, that's center. I said this to y'all off air. If I'm Dylan Radins right now, and Ben Jones is potentially gone this year, right? He got a year left on that deal. If I am, listen to me, Dylan Radins, I'm right now inside that facility. I'm grabbing the football and I'm talking to somebody or figuring out, how do I snap this ball? Heck, Kevin Mawai just came back to Nashville. Hey, Mawai, teach me how to snap the ball. That's going to be his biggest advantage, I feel like, going into the season. He's a bigger body dude, 6'5". That beefs up your offensive line in itself right there. I'm thinking to myself, if he can get his lateral hip movement good enough to where he can snap the ball and move and block, his career could be at center. And that may sound crazy on my end, but if I'm him, I'm making myself more valuable.
If anyone can say it, you can.
I'm increasing value first by adding another position. Him at center could be a big advantage for this Titans team, specifically with the idea that they got to replace a few guys.
That's interesting. So your idea for Dylan Radins is trying to move inside and prolong his career by being a center.
Yes.
So what I'm hearing is the deficiencies in his game and the knocks on him are not correctable.
What?
Not at tackle.
Not at tackle.
Okay.
I don't think he's fast enough.
And I think
and it's
he
that
got
part
beat
too.
out by a rookie.
And I think the Titans have accepted the fact that Dylan Radins is never going to be a starting tackle at the NFL.
No, we X'd that off the map already. We're good on that one.
But what I'm hearing from you're talking about, okay, his feet are too heavy. The turnover isn't quick enough. That's not something you can teach.
It ain't maybe loss of weight.
Okay.
Little training here or there and just getting stronger. It can help. And if he moves inside, go ahead.
But he's already, that's what I'm saying, is that to move to tackle, he's already a little bit undersized, correct?
To
play left
he's
tackle?
6'5".
6'5", okay.
I think, he's too slow to play left tackle.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Not
he
even
wouldn't-
undersized.
I guess him losing weight would correct the quick feet, heavy feet issue.
Yeah.
But then you create other problems.
Well,
at the tackle
no,
position.
I'll say this. Let me say reshape his body.
Okay, sure.
Okay.
Sure.
Reshape his body. Trim up, add more muscle, get more lean is what I would say, Will. Get more lean, get to where you can get a base underneath you a whole lot faster. His first job that he's got to be able to do is snap that ball and being able to anchor real quick.
Mm-hmm.
If he does that by getting stronger, increasing his foot flexibility and knee flexibility and his core, he can take on a bull rush better at center, I feel like, than he could at left tackle. Because this is the thing. He has the body type to me to where he'd probably be better off setting more square. He snapped the ball, get off the line of scrimmage, and then get into attack mode to being that he can anchor. That's where I think his biggest advantage is going to be. Because I think he got good enough hips. They're just not like left tackle, right tackle hips in the NFL.
Sure.
And yes, I know the film is out there against the 49ers. But y'all, what do I always tell y'all too? Spot starting is cool. Every game, every week starting is a totally different animal because you get broken down by those guys in those scouting rooms and just do film study that it makes it impossible for you to correct it like that. So his advantage is to move into me. But that premier left tackle, Will, when you see him, you know him. Like if we're going after the Paris Johnson guy at number 11.
Ohio State.
Or at Ohio State. He says to me, lean. He says to me, athletic. He also says to me he has an affinity for a physicality, too, because he has played guard. Also, quick little pro tip, Trent Williams was a former guard before he went tackle. If you learn guard and you can't play tackle, your physicality aspect of what it can bring to a game is out of this world.
Yeah.
It is a different animal moving from the outside to inside. That's why I said if Dylan Radins going inside like that, one thing we saw from him, he was on the ground a lot. You have to really condition yourself to receive those blows and give those blows inside because it's bigger dudes, stronger dudes, and now they're getting just as fast, too, to deliver those punches up the middle like that. So, but if we're talking about Paris Johnson, to be specific, I think he has the physicality, the speed. He played big-time ball, and he's got long arms with good hips, and his 40 speed is probably going to be one of the better tackle ones because he's a slender basketball type of athlete. He looks like a power forward.
Yeah.
And that's interesting. And Kayla, I feel like being around Dylan and being around that offensive line room, I think Mike Vrabel likes Dylan Radins, the guy.
And
sure.
That's why he needs to make himself more
he'd be the
valuable.
first one running out when we're ready for press conferences. I'm not joking you. Stonehouse and him were the first ones running out with their helmets every single day that we were there.
And you can work with that a little bit. And ultimately, look, you can be a good guy. And I know a lot of good guys that aren't NFL players. Like, that's not a one-to-one correlation. But this isn't an Isaiah Wilson situation. Now, granted, nothing is. But that's the extreme. But this isn't just a guy that isn't getting it and isn't getting the attitude part of it. You feel like Mike Vrabel likes him, the personality. And the evidence of that is the way he spoke about him after the San Francisco game on Thursday Night Football in 2021.
Yeah.
When he spoke really, really highly of Dylan. And it feels like he did at times this year when he came in and did a job in spot duty of Aaron Brewer and Ben Jones when Aaron had to move inside. And Dylan, a lot of times we were finding out on Sunday morning that, hey, some of these guys are inactive. Dylan's going to have to go do a job today at right guard.
Right.
Or working a little bit at left tackle when his season was ended with the injury. It feels like the Titans really, really want him to have a win and to be a piece of this line moving forward.
Yeah.
It would help this team so much if he can give them something.
And that's why I don't know if I'm completely opposed to Ramon's idea of possibly putting him at center. Because if you can utilize him somehow on that line, he clearly is working. He clearly has the attitude.
Yep.
but you can't force the tackle situation,
No.
which they're not.
No.
And now if you draft a couple guys and you see what you can get out of him this next season, yeah, it could be very, very beneficial. And I'm sure, if anything, he's a second-round pick. They want to make it happen.
They want to.
They want to make it work.
I think the pedigree is there. He's just got to learn, And
he's had time.
I'll throw these names out there, and y'all let me know if Dylan Radins matches any one of these. Trent Williams, Tyron Smith, David Bakhtiari, even Taylor Lewan, Teron Armstead, Garrett Bowles, Laramie Tunsil, Taylor Decker, Deion Dawkins, Jake Matthews.
No.
Those are your top 10 guys in the league. Is he the caliber athlete on paper that we've seen?
No.
Compared to those guys? Not right now. You know what I'm saying? So his better move is to move inside. And I even look at Orlando Brown Jr. I'll say I like him a lot. I respect the young man. He's really forced himself into that left tackle job. But if we being real, he's probably more of a right tackle than he is a left.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's why I always get on that soapbox about Conklin. Because you had a guy that was a supreme athlete at his position, not left tackle, but there aren't many all-pro right tackles.
Darnell Wright could be one, perhaps.
I mean, legitimately, on the right side, and now I'll say this too, the athlete has to get, the accelerator on right tackles have to move up too, because teams have gotten smart. Oh, you got your supreme athlete at left tackle?
You can find specialists who are good at playing that position.
Oh, my.
Not just because, hey, this guy's a good tackle, but he's not quite athletic enough. Now it's, hey, this guy is a right tackle.
Yeah.
It's becoming a different mold and a different position altogether.
But they've also started putting big-time rushers on the right side of the offensive line.
Right.
TJ Watt rushes off the right side. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like Harold rushes off the right side of the offense. Like
Danico Autry at times
rushes off the right side. That right tackle better have Vaughn would move over to the right side because, you're the duck that I heard about and I'm ready to eat.
Right.
And let's just add this too. I'm excited to see who the offensive line coach will be.
Yeah.
Just in terms of a little bit of development maybe for some of these younger guys when they come in, because I don't know if we saw that fully with Keith.
Yeah.
I didn't think we could actually do this, y'all. We filled a whole segment with O-line talk.
Oh, well, take the surprise out of your boys.
I know. I just kept going. I got more.
We'll be doing a lot of this at the Senior Bowl.
We got a whole summer.
Right?
We got more.
And the summer.
Jeez.
Coming up next, we wrap up the show and give you some appointment viewing tonight on something that you need to be watching if you are a sports fan in the state of Tennessee. That's next on Ramon, Kayla, and Will, 104.5 The Zone.
Take the surprise out your voice.
One final segment of Ramon, Kayla, and Will, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors on 104.5 The Zone. Some breaking news from Adam Schefter this morning. Out of the 13 offensive coordinator vacancies in the NFL, a second one has been filled, and it involves a former Titans assistant. The New York Jets are hiring former Broncos head coach Nathaniel Hackett as their offensive coordinator.
Whoa.
And former Titans offensive line coach Keith Carter will be the Jets O-line coach and run game coordinator, according to Schefter.
Whoa.
The Jets?
The New York
Breece Hall?
Jetropolitans.
Wow. Oh, good for him. Again, that circle continues to spin as far as coaches in the NFL. They're never without long.
And that sound you're hearing right now is all of Las Vegas shifting the Aaron Rodgers odds just a little bit more towards the New York Jets.
You saw it. You kind of saw it out there.
I think the Jets now become the leader in the clubhouse, not named Green Bay for Aaron Rodgers' services. Nathaniel Hackett.
So there you go. Hackett in Denver, but he can be OC.
So 2 vacancies filled and 11 more to go.
Good for
quick math.
I know. Good for the Jets. Hey.
That's right. If you missed the last conversation, check out the podcast for an entire evaluation of how offensive linemen go from being good to great within the NFL draft process. Or you could just take part of it out of context and act like you heard one part of it and that you heard the whole segment. Maybe just go listen to the whole segment.
Yeah, insane. But that's how I see that situation working out. You got an entire offseason from it. And what's crazy, if people listen to the conversation, I've seen this actually happen. You want to know who?
Yeah.
Mike Pouncey that played at in Miami. I mean, it played at Florida. He played guard primarily. His brother Marquise played center, who was drafted as a first-round center too. Marquise left. Mike stayed. Mike went to center from a guard position. It makes sense. It's possible. You get an entire offseason to work through these things. Him and Tannehill's relationship could be built over this offseason. Like, there's a lot of times what OTAs is for. And now you don't have school to go to. You become a master of your craft because it's dependent upon your job, too. So it's not outside the realm of extending the guy's career or really.
Because we're talking about trying to make something of
maximizing his pedigree. Pick. Right. Absolutely. He's already moved inside. Ben's probably out.
I think it's more lazy of us to say just get rid of him.
Yeah, it is lazy to say that. And I know majority of the people are educated on the idea of what offensive line moves can be and how you go about it. So it's just interesting that some people just not that smart. I'll just put it that way.
Your quote was, if I'm Dylan, I'd learn center this offseason to try to maximize my career. Yes. You're talking from Dylan Radin's perspective. You're not talking from the Titans' perspective of, hey, should the Titans try to move Dylan Radins to center? You're talking from the player, because you are a player that played 11 years in this league. And for the random podcasters that want to take quotes of that we put out of context and say, well, y'all are in a content desert and you're just trying to get anything to talk about. We're going to continue to lean on the perspective of a guy that played the position for 11 years.
It just makes sense. Like, I didn't want to go play guard at all. I did not. But to maximize my career, I moved inside, and I adamantly learned it every single day. What are the steps? How do I take on a bull rush? What is my hand placement? Where do I start the fight as far as taking on defensive linemen, play in and play out? Like, I saw guys in college, man, not wanting to move from D-line to O-line. You want to know why? Because they wanted their name calls as far as, like, playing defensive line. Offensive line is not a sexy position, but I've seen guys make that switch and actually prosper from it. Jock McClendon was on the defensive side of the ball. Comes over to the offensive side. Next thing you know, he's a guy that's being drafted. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's how this stuff works. Like, I saw careers end because guys were so reluctant to move, to different positions. Like we seeing right now, Richard, the fullback in Baltimore, former defensive lineman, goes over and start playing fullback, and now he's Pro Bowler. Like, these are the things that happens when you find out, look, you're good, you're decent at this, but you'll be way better doing this responsibility. So I've seen these things unfold in front of my face and on other teams too.
Tim Tebow refused to move to wide receiver or tight end.
And you know what?
He should have moved to
Seriously.
tight end.
That
I'm
he
serious.
Was a minor league baseball
Yeah.
player.
No. You feel me? So
For a
that's
team that didn't win the NL East, by the way, the New York Mets.
for there's a saying in
Thank you.
there's a saying in pro sports, man, specifically football, the more you can do, the longer you stay around. Okay? And that's how the league is. There's only 53 spots now, plus 10 or 16 practice squad spots. So the more value you have to yourself, the better it is for your career.
Yeah. Preach.
Fun show. Appreciate Coach Mack. Appreciate Eytan Shander spending some time with us this morning. And we are back at it tomorrow on a Friday that we will act like.
Friday.
Yeah.
Looking forward to that. Looking forward to Tennessee and UConn tonight. Watch the Lady Vols play the UConn Huskies.
Can't wait.
Blue blood matchup. The two best teams in women's college basketball in history. Enjoy it. And enjoy the first of two college game days this weekend in Knoxville. We talk to you tomorrow morning at 6 a.m.